Right. The possibility of it being a problem is greater to me than 50%. Like I agree with that. I think it's pretty hot.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is hour one, Jon and Jim on a rainy Tuesday. We have a loaded show for you today. We will have a bracketologist of the week at 2:30. Goes by the name of JBR, and he will join us coming up at JBR. Very reliable bracketologist will join us coming up at 2:30.
What?
Trust me.
JBR. That's his name.
Three letters.
It's like, who did Steve work with for all those years? Hartman on the radio. You guys have names like
Philly Billy,
or like Money Smith, or who was the guy though he worked with? Vegas.
Philly Billy. We would know.
Vegas guy.
So you know this guy well enough to just go by 3 letters for him?
Correct.
Okay.
And he will join us coming up at 2:30.
I have a feeling that this bracketologist wasn't like your number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5th choice.
Listen, I thought about reaching out to Ken Pomeroy, but since I don't subscribe and
he doesn't know that.
I know, and it's also conference tournament week, and it's a little late in the process. Anyway, Nick Boyd was named second team All Mountain West today. His first year as an Aztec, coming over from FAU. He'll join us at 4:30. BJ Rains covers Boise State. He'll join us at 3:30. He'll get us ready for this massive quarterfinal game. Darnay Tripp on the Padres and more at 5 p.m.
Can't wait till he breaks down Xander Bogaerts at bat today.
Or Jackson Merrill, who just hit a home run.
Oh, great.
All right. So remember yesterday, and we'll get into Magoonaguath because we have 4 hours. So Magoonaguath is day to day, and he wants to test NBA waters, but we have 4 hours. So a year ago, obviously the Padres trade for Dylan Cease. Breaking news. And then also within the last year or so, they trade for Michael King with the Yankees. Now, the Yankees are going through it right now with starting pitching, right? We talked about it yesterday, the Garrett Cole situation, Luis Gil, and more. So let's start there and react because the Yankees want every starting pitcher that's probably available. And when you have a name like Dylan Cease, of course, they're going to have interest. Now, we heard yesterday that the Padres were content to head into the season with Cease and with King. Well, this is the latest from John Morosi on the Yankees. Take a listen.
The Padres are always active, and so I would hesitate to rule out anything in terms of a move that A.J. Preller could make. However, I would say this. The expectation in the industry over the last 24 hours is that Dylan Cease is not going to be traded to the Yankees to save their rotation in light of the Garrett Cole injury. Notably, Dylan Cease is on the mound today, pitching at 4 p.m. Eastern time, so I'm sure there will be plenty of scouts there looking at him as they have with Michael King in recent days and Sandy Alcantara as well. The issue as it relates to the potential pairing between Cease and the Yankees is twofold. Number one, I've been told that the Yankees are reluctant somewhat to add payroll right now. Now, some may say, well, they should pivot and reconsider that in light of the Cole injury. But from what I was told, they're not in a spot to continue adding, given where they're at with respect to the CBT. The other aspect is this, and Matt referenced this off the top in the A block, about the state of the Yankees farm system. If you were going to acquire or have a Dylan Cease deal, you might theoretically ask for Jason Dominguez. Well, he's probably going to play every day in the major leagues, or at least he should this season. Or perhaps Will Warren. Well, at this moment in time, could the Yankees really afford to give up one major league ready pitcher to bring in someone else for 1 year, especially, Lauren, when you consider what is the status of Garrett Cole for 2026, which honestly we do not know at this stage. So while, yes, certainly the Yankees have a need right now in their rotation, I think it has a chance to be either from within, perhaps an external signing like a Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn. They're both still out there. I just do not think we're going to see a Dylan Cease trade that rescues the Yankees rotation.
Which confirms what we heard yesterday.
Uh-huh.
That's what it does. They might want him. I want a new car. You apparently want a new car because you fill up your gas tank every 2 days, is what you put on social media.
I do.
So maybe go hybrid.
Maybe go hybrid RAV4.
But again, it's like, it's not realistic.
No.
Maybe you want a hybrid. Maybe I want a new car. Maybe they want Dylan Cease. You're not getting I'd be very surprised, Jim, based on what we heard yesterday, where the Padres are, their desire to win in 2025. You're not going to act as a farm team here to the Yankees back-to-back off seasons, right? Like you traded Juan Soto to them last year. Now you're trading Dylan. No, it's not happening.
No. And I wouldn't be surprised if those calls have taken place multiple times this offseason about Dylan Cease.
Yep.
And maybe over the last week, maybe even as recent as yesterday or this morning, regarding Dylan Cease because of the news to Garrett Cole being out for the year with Tommy John. Yankees are never in a punt situation, even though it is weird hearing from reporters saying that they're reluctant to add payroll. That's ridiculous. You're the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, stop.
Yep.
So, and Dylan Cease isn't making that much money anyway.
Making nothing.
Yeah, you're not adding $150 million to your payroll.
Was it 12? What is he at?
13.7.
It's like the cheapest good starting pitcher in the country in Major League Baseball.
And I'm sure that, the word around baseball has been the price tag for Dylan Cease and Michael King are very high. So do they want to give up a Jason Dominguez? Do they want to give up a couple top prospects along, for Dylan Cease for just probably 1 year, unless you sign him to a long-term deal, even though that also seems kind of unlikely, right?
Right.
And it doesn't seem like the Yankees want to do that for a rental player for a season. I'm all good for it. I'm glad that we're hearing things like that instead of things like, discussions have just started.
100%. I agree, because you know what happens is once the Yankees engage, it's over. It's like once they engaged with Juan Soto, they were always going to get Juan Soto. There was no scenario where they were not going to land Juan Soto. Like once they set their sights, I say that.
It takes two to tango, though.
It does. And the Padres had a need of getting rid of Juan Soto. They had no desire to pay him long-term or short-term. And they freed up money and addressed needs. Now, do you free up money with Cease? No. I think we've both argued that. You're really going to move Dylan Cease to free up $13 million? That's a bad investment. You don't want to do that. Now, do you want to address needs? I think they do, but not with Dylan Cease. Like, if you're creating a need by trading Dylan Cease, like, I don't care what needs you address. When you trade Dylan Cease, who's capable of winning the Cy Young, we've seen a Padre pitcher in a free agent year, a walk year, win a Cy Young as recently as 2 years ago with Blake Snell. So I don't see it. And to your point, it takes two to tango. I don't think the Padres have a desire to move Dylan Cease. Truthfully, I don't think they have a desire to listen on Dylan Cease. At this point, like, you're 2 weeks out, you're going to need this guy to compete in 2025.
I do think there was a moment this spring, or maybe it happened before spring, where they decided what road they're going to take, right? They were kind of at a fork in a road, and which route are they going to go? Are they going to like seriously consider and look to move either Cease or King, or maybe both?
Right. Or
are you going to just keep those guys, go all in, go for it in 2025, and see what you can do, regardless of the fact that they're going in their walk years? And I think that they have made their choice. Now, as we've talked to many people, at any moment somebody could blow away AJ Preller with the deal. I think that is always a possibility. I don't think it's a 100% chance that nobody could put anything on the table that AJ Preller wouldn't seriously consider for Dylan Cease or Michael King. I just don't think that's going to happen, because AJ has such a high asking price for both of these guys, especially Cease, that I don't know if any team's going to want to do that for just a rental player for a year.
Well, ask yourself this. No matter what the return is, even if it helps you in 2025, are you prepared to go into a season with Yu Darvish, who's not young? Now, his upside's still significant. Nick Pivetta, who, again, has upside, but there's no guarantee there. His career ERA is over 4. And then Michael King is coming off a great year, and King in that scenario is my clear ace if I don't have Dylan Cease. But are you prepared to go into a year where Darvish threw less than 100 innings with Darvish, Pivetta, King, and figure it out from there? That to me is a stretch. And that's why Nick Pivetta was so crucial. And that's why King and Cease are so crucial. I don't know about 2026. They'll have to figure it out. They're not going to have King. They're not going to have Cease. That's a year away. But for now, I don't see how you get through 2025 without Dylan Cease. Now, injuries pop up. If something happens to Cease or King or Pivetta or Darvish, well, that's baseball. That's sports. But I'm not going to put my team in that spot to start the year. Like, the White Sox are the type of team to put their team in that spot to start the year. They literally traded their A's the day the season started. And that's where we are now. I mean, the season is starting now. We're 2 weeks and 2 days away, and Dylan Cease is out the door. That's a huge pivot. It is noticeable in the clubhouse, clearly, and I can't envision it. I cannot envision it. I'm not saying no scenario in the world, but I cannot envision it.
Yeah, I think they've already made up their mind on what they're going to do, at least to start the year. There's always contingency plans.
Oh, if they're bad, I trade them in a heartbeat.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
if they're bad, you almost hope the Yankees are good.
Yeah,
so then,
exactly.
then you have you have the leverage there, and I'm sure that you've already laid the groundwork for some type of discussion. I guarantee you, there's groundwork laid by AJ Preller with certain teams out there that called and checked in on Dylan Cease and or Michael King. Guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
And those things will help you if you do suck at the deadline,
right?
And then you can make those trades. But I'm not sitting here wanting that to happen at all. I'm not sitting here envisioning it happening unless they have just a boatload of injuries or they just all underperform. I'm envisioning this team kind of saying, all right, we're going for it this year. This is our, like, not last ride, but this might be our best chance to try to get it done while we have the pieces we have on this team.
VTB, Vic the Brick, is who I was thinking of. JBR will join us at 2:30. Darnay Tripp will join us with more on the Padres coming up at 5 p.m. Nick Boyd, second team All Mountain West, getting ready for the Mountain West tournament. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. Loaded show. We'll have giveaways for you today as well. And we'll hear from Mike Schild on the other side. Where is Jose Iglesias starting the year? Is it in the majors or the minors? The latest on that next. Jon and Jim. right, Jon and Jim back with you. We do have a sizable prize to give away that we're going to announce right now on Jon and Jim. We will once again qualify someone every hour for a chance to win San Diego FC tickets for this Saturday against the Columbus Crew. This is how it's going to work. You're going to listen for an Adrian Garcia Marquez call, a sounder. It's going to sound like this. Do not call now, but this is
San Diego FC.
all right. So that's what it's going to sound like. When you hear that, you call 877-767-4760. You're then a qualifier. At the end of our show today, among the 4 qualifiers, one in the 2 o'clock hour, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock hour, there will be one qualifier from today's show for a chance to win those tickets that we'll announce on Friday.
A grand prize qualifier for the day.
Right. You don't win anything
No.
other than you are the one that's eligible to win on Friday.
Correct.
And on Friday, we're giving away multiple pairs. So if you're the grand winner from today's show or tomorrow's show or Thursday's show or Friday's show.
Well, we don't have a show Thursday.
Well, today, tomorrow, or Friday,
Correct.
You're eligible to win those tickets.
Correct.
Okay. So there's going to be 3 grand prize qualifiers, only 2 winners.
Correct.
Interesting. All right. So be listening for that sounder coming up later this hour. San Diego FC second ever home match this Saturday, Columbus, 7:30 p.m. All right. So back to Padres spring training. So Jose Iglesias signs within the last week, and he had this really good year with the Mets, 85 games, hit 337. And we speculated that we didn't envision any scenario where he doesn't make the team. And then Mike Schilt kind of confirmed that earlier today. Let's listen to Schilt and react to what he had to say about Jose Iglesias.
With Iglesias back in the organization, do you think we could see Jake still play some first base at times this year?
I don't see it on the radar at the moment. I don't like kind of to Ace's question about part of my longer answer was, the fact that there is versatility and we have guys that have their head around being able to be versatile and are okay within a team setting. There's always a path for different possibilities as the season comes. I can't say it couldn't happen. I also am not looking at it as anything that top of mind that will happen.
So for now, you're looking at Jose as just filling in around the infield.
I think we have a guy that can fill in around the infield. There's going to be a spot for him. It's hard to also answer the question, Dennis, with complete, as much accuracy in the sense of, we don't know where our team's going to shape up. And so at the end, we'll clearly have an idea when we break camp. We can use the DH spot in a couple different, avenues right now. We could also pass it around a little bit, which would, in Jose's, situation, would allow him some opportunity to second, short, third day off, use the DH early in the season, keep guys, fresh. But we also have days off first, every Thursday for several Thursdays in a row to begin the season. So, there's a lot of different possibilities as the wrap-up point.
Jose. That's the takeaway. We can't even call him Jose. We got to go with the Schiltism. Jose, like Shilty. He's putting an EY on a guy's name that ends in an E. Whose name literally sounds like it ends in a Y. Jose. No, not even Jose. It's not Jose. It's Jose.
I'm really glad.
ready.
I'm glad Mike Schilt's a good manager.
Yeah.
Jose.
I'm really glad he's a good manager. That's all I'm going to say there.
Better have a good year, man.
He better have a good season.
The exact quote in there, though, is there's going to be a spot for him.
Yes.
I think that might have been a slip, truthfully.
I think so, too.
Because then he's like, well, without really knowing how the roster is going to shape out, but he said there's going to be a spot for him. How could there not? You got better options? You got better options than a guy that's been in the big leagues for a decade and hit 337 last year and plays multiple positions? I don't. So they shouldn't either. He should be on the team, right? He's going to make $3 million. That's because they prioritize him.
Yeah. And if you are having to choose between Jose or Wadey,
right. Yeah.
It's pretty simple. It's Jose. It's Jose over Wadey.
Right.
Jeez, man.
I agree.
Anyway, all cringe nicknames aside from Shilty, I can't stop thinking of Jose. Jose Iglesias, you're right, should absolutely be on this team this upcoming year.
Right.
And I mean, if I'm Tyler Wade, I think I'm a little nervous. I mean, this can't be like a popularity contest. This has to be who's a better player. I'm sorry, Hosey is a better player than Wadey, and they both play the same position. Now, Wadey has more versatility, but the one thing that he doesn't even come close to is a bat, which is not even comparable to Hosey.
Iglesias can bunt, and so can Wade. And here's the thing: I feel like Wade is going to find his way. It's going to be some type of like injury or option or circumstance, and he's going to find a way to be there somehow too, because Schild is enamored by him. But you're right; it's a baseball decision. It's not a personal decision. It's a baseball decision.
Right.
You brought in a player with better accolades that can do the exact same thing Tyler Wade can do, but do it to a better degree. He could basically play every day. At his best, he could play every day.
Yeah.
You just don't have a spot for him to play every day right now.
No, you don't. And like you see what's going on in the NFL, and the NFL is very cutthroat. It's the most cutthroat league in sport.
Yeah, you're saying with the guys that get cut, you got Hall of Famers getting cut the day that they can be cut.
Yeah,
100%.
It is a no nonsense business.
Top 5 picks. Sorry, if you can't do it anymore and you make money, you're gone.
Baseball, it's a little different, and I don't like it because you keep guys around because they're good clubhouse guys, or they can play multiple positions. It's like, who's better player, Jose Iglesias or Tyler Wade? It's not even question.
Yeah, you're right. It's such a good point. Like there comes a time in every player's career in the NFL, you're getting cut. Saquon Barkley's getting cut. I promise you. If he cannot get it done in his 4th year with the Eagles, he'll be waived. Mm-hmm. That's like, maybe not. He's 2,000-yard season, won a Super Bowl, but that's how ruthless and cutthroat it is. Like Joey Bosa, sorry, you're cut.
Right. It's
just how the sport works. Like that's. But in Major League Baseball, yeah, it is different. It is completely different. All right, bracketologist of the week for a final time. He goes by just 3 initials. JBR. JBR Bracketology has more followers than Jim on social media. And me too. And he'll join us next. Not close.
Oh, wow. All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. We'll start with Cactus League action. Cubs and White Sox battle for last place in the Cactus League. We are tied up, John, at 4 apiece. Jackson Merrill has a home run on the day. Oh, the Padres just took a 5-4 lead, John. Look at that. Dylan Cease went 3 2/3, giving up 4 earned runs, striking out 4 and walking 1 in the game. Moving over to Aztecs news of the day. Magoon Guath, he is labeled as day-to-day leading up to the Mountain West Conference tournament. It remains to be seen if he'll play on Thursday or not. And some awards for the Aztecs. Nick Boyd, he made second team All Mountain West along with Miles Bird. And Magoon Guath, he was named the Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the Mountain West. Rapid Radio is our instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Hard to believe, final bracketology of the week. Bracketologist of the week. We've been doing this for about a year. And Selection Sunday is coming up in less than a week. He goes by JBR Bracketology. With us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Obviously, there's a lot of bubble discussion here in San Diego. I should have mentioned I probably, JBR, want to get in a question on UC San Diego as well, considering the year they're having in the Big West, but primarily on San Diego State and the Mountain West. So let's start there. We appreciate you hopping on. I think you had something on social media last week where you said, listen, if San Diego State beats Nevada on their senior night, they're in really good shape. So the Aztecs have beat Nevada. Now they got this Mountain West quarterfinal game against Boise State, important game arguably for both teams. But how do you feel about the Aztecs heading into the Mountain West tournament as it relates to the at-large conversation? And thanks again for joining us in San Diego.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to hop on. No, I mean, I think San Diego State is in good shape for sure, just like I said. Their metrics aren't great. Their resume average is kind of in the low 40s, and then their predictive metrics and net is kind of pushing towards 50. But, one thing the committee loves to overemphasize every single year is the non-conference strength of schedule. And San Diego State knocked it out of the park with that. I mean, their non-conference strength of schedule as of today is number 7 overall in the country. And not only did they play a hard schedule, but, they converted opportunities with, that elite win over Houston on a neutral court. They beat Creighton on a neutral court. And then, who expected UC San Diego to be as quality of a win as it turned out to be. So, I think their metric profile with a resume average rate at about 42, as well as some of those really good non-conference wins. I feel like San Diego State is in pretty good shape for a bid. Now, I'm not sure that they're going to get quite as good of a seed as they've gotten some of the past couple of years, just because of, some of those more predictive metrics that the committee tends to lean on a little bit more when it comes to actually seeding the bracket as opposed to selection. So that would be, one concern I would have. But, I think most likely you're going to see San Diego State on the 10 or 11 line, depending on what happens over the next few days.
What about bid stealers? Like how concerned should San Diego State be about potential bid stealers here?
Yeah, I mean, bid stealers, it's always possible, right? I mean, last year we saw what I believe to be as a record 5 bid stealers. And, there was quite a few Mountain West teams that ended up quite close to the cut line as a result. I'm certainly not expecting 5 again. I think on average we see about 1.5 to 2 each season. I think that's kind of what I'm expecting we see again. Right now, if you look at my seed list that's pinned to my profile, I have, I'm basically baking in 0. I'm not expecting any in my current seed list, or I'm not predicting any in my current seed list. So any bid stealer we get, you're right, that moves the cut line up one spot and takes away an at-large opportunity. But I'm thinking we get 1 or 2. I think Memphis in the American is probably the most vulnerable off the top of my head. I think the way Colorado State is playing in the Mountain West and just the draw they have on the bottom side of the Mountain West bracket, I think it is definitely possible. These power conferences, it's hard to say. I mean, they have so many teams now. It's definitely possible that someone from the bottom works their way in. I mean, certainly nobody saw NC State going on the run that they did last year. So, but it's hard to predict, but it's certainly possible that one of these teams just catches lightning in a bottle and surprises everyone and goes on to win, 4 games in 4 days or even 5 games in 5 days.
JBR bracketology on X with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Of course, I'm the one sitting there last night watching San Francisco Gonzaga, praying that Gonzaga wins that game. It was a very good game. Here's my question. I'm glad you brought it up. Colorado State is playing great basketball. By and large, Boise State's played really well over the last month. And I know they don't say it comes down to league specifically, the selection committee, but could the Mountain West be penalized? This has been my fear with San Diego State. Let's say Colorado State wins the league or the tournament, or even Boise State wins the tournament. Does a Mountain West team get penalized, in your opinion, as a result?
I don't think so, but I guess it's possible. But I don't think so. I don't really see that being an issue this year, just with the status of the bubble. I will say going into last year, I posted multiple times heading into Selection Sunday or heading into, kind of this conference tournament week. I was like, I just had a really hard time seeing the committee actually put 6 Mountain West teams into the tournament unless they had to, right? If all the teams finished strong and had the resume where the committee had no choice but to put 6 in, then of course they would. But, I was pretty steadfast that I felt like New Mexico was going to be a bid stealer, even though, you saw everyone, especially some of the big media guys on TV. I mean, I remember John Rossi and Seth Davis both saying New Mexico's a lock after winning Friday night. And I'm like, I don't think that they're a lock. Like, I really don't. I mean, this is a tight bubble. And, we had already seen a number of bid stealers starting to emerge at that point. I'm like, I don't know about that. And then obviously New Mexico took care of business on their own to leave no doubt there. But I don't think that that's going to be an issue for the Mountain West this year. I mean, I've already locked New Mexico. New Mexico's in for sure. And I think Utah State and San Diego State are both pretty safe. That said, it wouldn't hurt to beat Boise State and make it official in that regard.
No doubt about it. What about a Boise State or a Colorado State from an at-large perspective? Do either have an at-large path, in your opinion, to the NCAA tournament?
I think they both have a chance, but I think Boise State has a better shot just because of what they did in the non-conference with their wins over Clemson and St. Mary's, where Colorado State just doesn't really have that, even though, you could certainly argue, obviously finishing second, that they did better in Mountain West play. But, I also think just their path, right? I mean, Boise State could theoretically beat both San Diego State and New Mexico en route to the Mountain West Conference Tournament final, whereas Boise State just doesn't have quite as much to gain, in my opinion, with beating a Utah State team that, I don't think has been playing as well the last month as they were back in December and January.
JBR bracketology with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I have to ask you about UC San Diego. It's been an incredible year. First year of Division I eligibility. They've put together a resume out of the Big West. So in your opinion, do they have an at-large path if they don't win the Big West tournament coming up this weekend?
They have a path. I'm not super optimistic that they can get there if they don't win the Big West Conference tournament, if I'm being honest, because I mean, any loss they take would be, at best a quad 2 loss to UC Irvine, and they don't have any opportunity to pick up any quality wins outside of beating UC Irvine. But the only way that there would be an at-large, obviously, would be losing to them. So
right.
I don't know. I don't feel great about their at-large profile. I know they beat Utah State, but their resume metrics are upper 40s, which is kind of right around the cut line of where you see teams in or out. But yeah, it's just going to depend on the rest of the bubble. What does Ohio State do? What does Xavier do? What does Oklahoma do? What does Arkansas do? What does North Carolina do? Those are a lot of, high majors that have huge opportunities this week to solidify a bid. If all of them fall flat on their face, then, that does present an opportunity for a UC San Diego to get an at-large bid, a VCU to get an at-large bid, a Dayton to get an at-large bid, one of those teams. I mean, I've even seen a couple bracketologists with UC Irvine as one of their last four in, for the same type of reasons. I have UC Irvine, my first four out. I think it would be tough for the Anteaters to get there, but it's really going to come down to those power conference schools that have those big win opportunities and whether or not they convert or whether or not they don't.
All right. So to put a bow on it from a San Diego State perspective, if they lose on Thursday, what's most likely? And if they win on Thursday from a seeding perspective, what's still in play, I guess, for the Aztecs in Las Vegas from a seeding perspective in the NCAA tournament?
I mean, I think based off their predictive metrics, I think a win versus Boise State, and I would expect San Diego State to be a 10 seed, maybe a 9. A lot was made about the seeding for Mountain West schools last year, but that did not apply to San Diego State. San Diego State did not seem to get that same level of scrutiny as the rest of the schools in the conference. And, it's at least my opinion that a large part of that is because of that national championship run the previous season. Does that still apply to 2025? I don't know, but it certainly could. I mean, you have 7 NCAA tournament wins over the last 2 seasons. That's certainly well more than the rest of the conference combined. So I could see, just looking at my seed list, them sneaking into the back of the 9 line, but I would say most likely a win over Boise State, and I would expect San Diego State to end up as a 10 seed on Selection Sunday. If you lose to Boise, then I would say probably an 11 and potentially even in Dayton as a last four in. I mean, it really just depends on how the rest of the bubble falls as well as the number of bid sealers.
All right, you can follow it at JBR Bracketology on X, and we appreciate you taking time for us in San Diego. We know it's the busiest week of the year, so thank you for doing it, and we'll do it again hopefully at some point next year.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right, great stuff. Told you. Goes by 3 letters, Jim. You go by 3 letters, truthfully, Jim.
I do.
Yeah, it's Jim. It's 3 letters.
Mine's a name, though.
Mine is John.
You also have 3 letters in your name as well.
Well, he has to protect his identity. When you know bracketology like that, you don't want to just be seen on the street, and then everyone hounds you. And there's
is that the famous bracketologist? Let's go get him.
You don't want to just be mobbed by men, women, everyone, animals.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure a lot of pets.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's pretty high on San Diego State, believing that even if they lose on Thursday, they could even avoid Dayton. And if they did lose on Thursday, maybe a worst case would be Dayton. Not everyone feels that way.
I like hearing those things, but you just also never know until Selection Sunday, until you actually see. And you got to go through all the conference tournaments and the bid stealers and whatnot to actually, get there. And until we hear San Diego State being announced on the selection show, then I think there will be nerves unless they win the Mountain West Conference tournament, and then everything's fine.
There'll be no nerves for me if they win a game in the Mountain West tournament.
Oh, wow.
There'll be no nerves for me if they win a game. If they don't win a game, they'll absolutely.
That's a lie.
Nervous.
You're always nervous.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good point. All right, let's hear. We have to hear from Mike Schill on Jake Cronenworth.
Crony.
All right. I mean, it's an impassioned plea for Jake Cronenworth to go to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. You'll hear from Mike Schill on the other side on his middle infielder, Jake Cronenworth, coming up next. All right, Aztecs in Vegas Thursday afternoon against Boise. Mountain West tournament pregame at 1:30. Ted's got the tip at 2:30 right here on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. We haven't heard the sounder as of yet, which means it's coming at some point in the next 10 minutes. When you hear that SDFC Adrian Garcia Marquez sounder, call 877-767-4760, and one of you will be qualified for a chance to win San Diego FC tickets for Saturday night against Columbus Crew. We'll have one grand qualifier per day, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. There's no show Thursday because of SDSU basketball. And then we'll give away some tickets coming up on Friday afternoon. But be listening all day long for that sounder for a chance to win San Diego FC tickets. All right, Jake Cronenworth.
Oh, Crony.
I mean, he's coming off a very average year, which is on the heels of a pretty average year.
Actually, coming off the heels of a really bad year in 2023.
Okay, so from and he wasn't better in 2024, I think, if you actually look at the numbers.
Oh, he was.
Slightly.
Well, he also finished 2023 injured.
Okay, so it's better to be healthy. I agree with that.
So his 2023 year was really bad, and it was a considered bounce back year for him last year.
With his 714 OPS, which was an OPS plus under league average last year.
Okay.
So this is Mike Schild on his under league average, Jake Cronenworth from 2024. You want to preface it?
Yes, he was asked what value does Jake Cronenworth bring to the team?
And Jake Cronenworth allows me a chance to speak about a lot of things very positively. First of all, just a great human being, and so high character guy. So that's a great starting point. But there's a lot of high character guys that can't play at all, but Jake's not one of them. And Jake's a really, really good player with a lot of different skill sets. One of the things that as a starting point for Jake, we talk about the 5 tools. Run, field, throw, hit for power. And Jake has all those tools, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the 6th tool that helps you win games that I feel like is an undervalued tool, and that's the tool that, like, high baseball IQ. Smart players win games, and Jake's a really, really smart player, and he sees the game very, very well, and he's able to see situations before they happen, and be able to anticipate and make plays and help his teammates be aware of the situation and make plays. So that's what winning players do. We want to be able to figure out the play before it happens, not talk about it, what we could have done after the fact. And Jake, it's a big part of our success, and that's part of what we're doing this spring training. And there's a learning curve with that, but anyway, back to Jake, he allows that. And then, oh, by the way, he's a really good defensive player. Last year I felt like, and I didn't worry about me feeling like it, but was tracking towards a Gold Glove, at first base, and like Bogey and Crony, and they're great. They're really talented. So when they're super talented and play multiple positions, and they're team oriented, they allow us to put him in those positions. So he left a spot where he's tracking for a Gold Glove, went and played really good defensive second, and didn't end up winning or even get nominated, which I thought was a little shame and unjustified for a Gold Glove, from a utility standpoint. So he does those things. The arms are real. The triple play we turned in the year with Manny and him showed off some really serious arm talent. So the arm helps you beat the other team, which is ultimately what this is about. And then we start talking about, the bat. Jake's in a really good place right now. Really, good rhythm to what he's doing, using the whole field, just in a great spot. Got some power, probably a little too much in the case. Like, when Jake's good, he's just hitting for average. But he has that pop in him. So it's, the competitor in you, like, yeah, I can go deep here. But he, and then the last thing, he's a really, really good teammate. He really cares about his teammates. And so there's a lot to like about Jake. It took me a long time to answer, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to share positivity.
Well, then.
All right. So he's got 6 tools because he's got a high baseball IQ. And then not only does he have power, he has too much power.
Too much power.
He's got to rein it in. He's been hitting the ball too far. They can't collect the ball. They have to race out into the parking lot. He keeps
hitting it too
rolling
hard.
away.
He's literally knocking the covers off the ball.
You're using too many of our baseballs.
Right.
We don't have enough.
We need to bring a couple balls back here and then the field of play.
He has too much power. He hit 10 home runs 2 years ago.
He hit 17 last year.
Yeah. 700 OPS. I don't even know what to say, dude. He would say the same thing about
Martin Maldonado.
Oh, yeah, who's fighting for the last bullpen spot right now? Rob Marciano or whatever.
Marciano. Yeah.
Marciano. I don't even know.
Hey, did you know Yuki Matsui's ground ball rate last year was like 23%?
Dude,
here's the thing.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
It really is. Hey, like I said, I'm glad Schulte is a good manager. Because I don't know if this would fly if the team would lose. And I do think it is like a quality that Schulte takes way over the top, but it is nice to have your manager just boost you up to like Hall of Fame status every single day.
Hall of Fame.
It's better than Hall of Fame.
First ballot
Hall of Fame, 100% on the ballot. He is a great what's the word I'm looking for?
Ambassador?
Not ambassador. He's a great hype man.
Right.
He is a great hype man. And if you're ever down, if you're ever in like an 0 for 15 slump, just have Schulte talk about you, and all of a sudden you'll feel like the greatest baseball player on the planet. Because that is a great quality that Schulte has. Is he is the ultimate hype man, no matter how bad you are or what kind of slumps you're going through. No player in his eyes can do any wrong, and he will always be positive. Now, it worked last year, so it's hard for me to really say like stop doing this because it worked. But when it does stop working, that's when you're kind of just gonna, again, like, can we just maybe tell it like it is?
He's like, he should have won a Gold Glove, and then he goes on to the same thing to be like, he wasn't even nominated.
He wasn't.
So he wasn't even like I thought like the way he said it, it's like it came down to him and one other guy for the Gold Glove. He didn't make top 3 for his position in the league. I'm sorry, man. You can only do so much spinning sometimes. Like
he's a spin master, bro.
Man, he's spinning. I get it. It's March. Who really cares? But oh my gosh,
Wadey, Schulte. I know. It is for me and you. Like it's like eye rolling content that when you hear from Schulte. But hey, man, I've said it before. If this team wins, do whatever cringy thing you want, man. That's all that matters is winning. And
they're winning.
Not
they're
in
on
Cactus League.
5-4.
But hey, look, if you win in 90 games this year, again, be as cringy as you want. Go ahead, Schulte.
Well, guess what? They're not winning. It's now 5-5.
Oh, jeez.
All right. On the other side, Roki had his mind made up the whole time, right? Further confirmation to that coming up on the other side. Plus, be listening for that sounder all day long for your chance to qualify to win San Diego FC tickets for Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. We'll start with Cactus League play. Padres taking on the White Sox today in Peoria. The game is tied 5-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jackson Merrill has a home run today, as does Gavin Sheets, his 4th straight game with a home run. Dylan Cease today going 3 2/3, giving up 4 earned runs, striking out 4 and walking only 1. Moving over to the Aztecs today, it's award season. Magoon Guath was named the Freshman of the Year in the Mountain West Conference, along with Defensive Player of the Year honors, and Nick Boyd and Miles Bird making 2nd team All Mountain West. In golf news today, Tiger Woods ruptured his Achilles. He has already had surgery on his Achilles. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering a national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off free shipping.
Previously on Jon and Jim.
They'd prefer to go with the 2 veteran backstops who have been through the battles than give their 25, 26-year-old a shot.
Yeah, that's not good.
Right? Isn't that what you're hearing? I mean,
Yeah, this could be a problem this year. The catching position. It could be. I'm not saying it will be. It could be.
right.
The possibility of it being a problem is greater to me than 50%. Like
I agree with that.
I think it's pretty high.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Again, be listening for that sounder, the Adrian Garcia Marquez gold call for SDFC. When you hear it this hour, call 877-767-4760. You'll be entered for a chance to win SDFC tickets for Saturday night against the Columbus Crew. BJ Rains covers Boise State. He'll join us at 3:30 because the Aztecs play Boise State in a critical game on Thursday in the Mountain West quarterfinals. But I just heard you say something that you probably said at 2 and 2:30, but I did not listen at all. Tiger Woods ruptured his Achilles playing golf?
You didn't hear about that?
No, I did not hear about it until right now. He ruptures. Is that how he, like, was it practicing or how did that?
Tiger today announced that he underwent surgery for a ruptured Achilles tendon this morning. He's expected to make a full recovery according to the doctor who performed the surgery.
But that's a long recovery, right?
Yeah, especially at his age. Yeah.
So I know I've asked you this 13 times over the last 13 years, even though I've only known you for like 7 years. At what point is it just done?
Well, no, it's over. It's over.
At what point is it like actually over? As in,
it's over.
But over? Or will he ever appear again in a Masters? And
I'm sure he'll appear in a Masters again, but he'll not. Like, I mean,
right.
It's he's going to be one of those legacy guys that appears every once in a while, potentially.
Which is fine. It's his choice. I'm not telling someone don't do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. But I also wonder, like, is it worth it when your body has been through the rigors?
Dude, he's a golfer. He's gonna try to play. He's not gonna just quit playing golf.
They're baseball players and they stop playing baseball, and they're football players and they stop playing football.
Well, here's the thing about golf, John. You can play until literally you're 85 years old.
Not him, apparently, because he's had back fusion surgery and multiple ruptured Achilles and can't walk 18. Right,
but the thing is, he can still play golf.
Yeah, I buy that. I mean, like you said, I guess anyone can play
competitive golf. Like going out on the tour and playing a tournament event, that's going to be a heavy ask. But I still think that he will attempt to try to eventually do something like that again.
Is it fair? See, you've given me pushback on this, which is fine. It's your opinion. Is it fair to be like you actually are impacting your legacy in some way? Because there are people that are in like their 20s that have seen more of this than they saw of the greatness. I'm talking about people in their late 20s. They've seen more of this than they saw of that. Like 2008 Torrey, that's a long time ago. So if I'm 28, I was 10. Okay, that's a long time. So I've watched everything transpire since. Like, it's gone downhill for a while.
Doesn't impact his legacy one bit.
Not one bit?
Nope.
See, I disagree. I really do. I thought he's been brilliant. He's been great. So but this is like a 10-year stretch where, like, at some point, maybe it's just better if you just stop.
No. So if I look up, and I don't know if I can find it right now, but if I can look up Jack Nicklaus in over his career, how many tournaments he played after winning his last major?
Sure.
and how many tournaments he didn't win or make the cut
I love
or
that.
anything, it would probably be a good amount. Wouldn't you say?
I would guess. I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't think it's probably been like
Does
this.
that impact Jack's legacy that he played so many tournaments after he won his last major?
That's pre-me. So I don't know because I didn't watch him.
Okay, well, I watched Tiger Woods. You watched Tiger Woods, and in his prime and winning all those majors and all those tournaments and being, obviously the face of the sport and making golf when he was, competing on a Sunday, the forefront of the sports world. I don't see how him playing golf now and not winning and getting all these injuries impacted what he did for that time period, winning all those majors and winning all those tournaments. Doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't impact them. It doesn't change that. But well, let's just take it to a team sport.
Okay.
If LeBron James was utter brilliance for a decade and then a complete, not just a disappointment, but just broke down completely for a decade plus on end and did nothing of substance for a decade straight, you couldn't tell me that's not impactful on his legacy.
Sad Fryer says golf talk is impacting Jon and Jim's legacy.
True. I mean, we don't talk any golf. I mean, I don't. But maybe it's different. It's not a team sport. That's fine. But I'm just saying that it is true that if Tom Brady didn't have the second half of his career, he wouldn't be Tom Brady. If he had won his 3 in the first half of his career, but didn't win the next 3 or 4, that's going to impact his legacy. So, Tiger doesn't have the most majors as it is right now, right?
No, it's Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not like he was always trying to catch Jack, and that's gonna stop. But I think to say that this is impacting his legacy doesn't add up, because you can't take away anything he did just because he hasn't won a major since 2019. By the way, it's not like it's been 13 years or 15 years since he won a major. The last major he won was the freaking Masters.
Right, but he'll go down with one of them. Again, this is arguably the greatest golfer of all time, but he's going to finish with 1 in his last 15 professional seasons or more.
That's fine.
Right?
That's fine. That doesn't impact his legacy at all. I guarantee you, when Tiger hangs it up, which, by the way, like I said, you can play golf till you're 80, and which, anybody could do. That's why golf is such a that's why I love golf, is because it's the one sport you can actually play literally forever. My grandpa played golf until he passed away when he was 87 years old. Like my dad's going to play golf forever.
We're confusing playing something and playing it at a professional level.
I know, but what you're saying is at a professional level, if he continues to play for another 15 years
and just misses every cut
and doesn't win anymore, to me, it doesn't matter.
No, I respect that, but I'm saying to me it does.
Okay.
And I think there's people out there that, again, are probably sports fans and have seen more of this than they saw of the other Tiger.
And I think you are in a small minority of those people.
I don't know, man. I really don't. I think it's anecdotal. We don't really know.
And when he hangs it up, and when he is never, doesn't play anymore, and when he's, gone, right, 20 years, 30 years down the line, nobody will be talking about the last 15 years.
I think a lot of people are going to talk about. Oh, you don't think people are going to talk about the way his career unfolded and it's
a part of the story.
Oh, it's a huge part of the story, man.
The scandals, yes,
it's a huge part of the story.
But when you talk about Tiger Woods and you look at the highlights, and the highlights are played on SportsCenter, all right. When Scott Van Pelt has his tribute to Tiger Woods on one big thing, all right. Yes, the scandals might be mentioned, but 95% of that montage will be about the greatness that Tiger Woods had.
Listen, I respect the opinion. Jim, I'm telling you right now, the lead of the obituary has the scandals in it.
Not the lead.
Yes, the lead. The first paragraph mentions it. I can already read it. The Hall of Fame golfer who rose to heights at Stanford and won as a young player and took the sport by storm, but also was the center of this controversy that unraveled his career, yada, yada, yada.
With his wife?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus his injuries.
So you think that the injuries and the divorce with his first wife,
it's not just the scandal,
is going to be
I think
the
it's
number
a
one
huge
thing.
No,
first paragraph.
100%.
No.
100%.
Okay.
Let's go to Mark. 877-767-4760. Mark, you're on with Jon and Jim. I don't even think it's arguable.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
What's up, Mark?
What's up?
Hey, so I know where we're going to see Tiger Woods next. That's at the not this year's Masters, but next year's Masters, when Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, Gary Player come out and do the first inaugural or the tee off with the old guys. He's going to be there joining them. That's going to be his thing going forward, man.
Probably. I mean, and I mean, again, you have to recover from a torn Achilles and stuff, but that down the line when Tiger's in his late 60s and 70s, like he'll be the guy like Jack is right now, and Gary Player being the inaugural tee off for the Masters. Because
I'm trying to think of another comparable athlete that has had such a significant,
don't you dare say fall from grace, because that's not Tiger Woods.
I mean, maybe not to you, but to a lot of people it is, man. I mean, it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like 15-year-old boys and girls haven't seen Tiger Woods in their prime. Absolutely.
But 45-year-olds have seen the fall from grace. That's the thing.
36-year-olds like me have also seen Tiger at his peak. And it's really hard to argue that wasn't the greatest stretch of golf that we will ever see.
Which is fine. That's a part of the story, to your point, as is the story that's played out in front of our eyes over the last 15 years.
Tiger Woods, to me, is one of the greatest golfers of all time. Now, I did not watch Jack, obviously. My dad did. And he's like, yeah, dude, Tiger's the best. But
it's not about him being, I'm not arguing he's not one of the greatest golfers of all time. I'm just arguing that how this has played out over the last 10 or 15 years is impactful. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's as impactful as you're making it out to be. That's all.
I guess we won't, it's hard to know.
It's in the story. You're right about that.
I know
but
in the story.
But it's not something that's like taking down Tiger as somebody who we think of as this like scandalous. I don't even know. Like it doesn't weigh down the fact that Tiger Woods will go down as arguably the greatest golfer of all time.
I also think, and I respect it, you're looking at it through the lens of you're a golf fan.
Yeah.
And most sports fans aren't, right? Because think about that. Most sports fans aren't golf fans.
Okay, well, most sports fans aren't baseball fans, or most sports fans aren't.
When you look at it from the lens outside,
fans.
and then you say Pete Rose's legacy also includes the scandal. He's got the most hits in the history of the sport. The scandal's a huge part of the story.
So if I'm like, hey, Michael Jordan, his failure as an owner, his time in Washington, man, that really impacted his career. All the gambling scandals.
But it's fair to say it's part of his legacy.
But you're saying it's impacting Tiger's legacy, just like I'm saying, well, I can look at Michael Jordan the same way and be like,
Michael Jordan might be a good
15 years after he won his 6th title, all the failure that he had, man, that really impacted his legacy.
Well, him stepping away for 2 years, I mean, is a part of the story.
How many times do you see on ESPN the GOAT talk? Is who's the GOAT, Tiger or Michael? Do you think that everything that Michael did after his career is impacting those conversations?
No, but I'm just telling you that Pete Rose has the most hits in the history of the sport, and Tiger Woods is one at a high level, but there's other parts of the story.
And Pete Rose also gambled on the game of the sport.
As did Michael Jordan.
Well, not while he was playing. And I don't know. You can't say that Michael was ever in a situation where he was going to be suspended and banned for betting on the game either.
Although he did walk away for 2 years.
But he did, and no one knows why.
877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in. We will hear from, who do we hear from? Freddie Freeman on the recruitment of Roki Sasaki and the role Shohei Ohtani and even his dog had to play. We'll get your calls if you want to weigh in. 877-767-4760, Jon and Jim. Monday, March 17th, our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Awards coming back live on Fox, celebrating the music and artists that you loved on iHeartRadio over the past year and giving you an exclusive first look at the biggest songs coming in the summer of 25. This year, we celebrate Lady Gaga with the coveted Innovator Award. Also, watch a special musical tribute and iHeartRadio Icon Award for Mariah Carey, hosted by LL Cool J, with performances by Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish. Join us for our iHeartRadio Music Awards live from the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Monday, March 17th, live on Fox 5 and on iHeartRadio at 5 p.m. All right, be listening for that sounder. When you hear it, make sure to call 877-767-4760 for a chance to win SDFC tickets for Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium against the Columbus Crew.
Should be a good atmosphere once again, good crowd. Tickets are selling fast, and like you said yesterday, probably around 30,000?
They'll have over 30,000 people. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they sold it out, but they'll have over 30,000 people at Snapdragon on Saturday night. All right. A number of people from day one said that it was a shoo-in that Roki Sasaki ended up with the Dodgers, right? We heard that to start the offseason. He was going to end up with the Dodgers. It was always a formality. Is this further confirming that? Freddie Freeman today talking about the role Shohei Ohtani and even his dog played in the recruitment of Roki.
Mookie, me, Tommy Edman, Will Smith, and Shohei were the guys that were there. And Shohei was with him the whole time. Shohei brought his dog because Roki likes dogs too. We knew what we were doing. But it was mostly like we just kind of hung around in a circle and just, it wasn't about like, hey, come to the dog. Like it kind of speaks for itself. It's just more of showing him how the culture is between us guys that are already on the team and showing him that he will be comfortable if he came to us.
If
he also was like, we knew what we were doing. When you have Shohei Ohtani to close the deal with Roki, you can't beat that. I'm sorry. Like, there was no beating that. As Manny said at FanFest, kind of had a suspicion when they were, meeting with Roki and having dinner at his house, the sushi dinner that they talk about. Had a few. Manny's like, yeah, we knew he was going to the Dodgers. Like, just the vibe was definitely off. And it sucks because, now you're seeing Roki out there in a Dodgers uniform. And today, he looked really good. He looked really good.
Right. He hasn't allowed a run, you were saying, this spring?
No, he has not. Today, 4 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts on 41 pitches. He's throwing 96, 97. His splitter is literally unhittable right now. It's just spring, but still, all of his advanced stats that I'm seeing out there are just ridiculous. And again, every time you see Roki now, I still will act like that jaded ex that I just can't stand it.
I can't believe it. If it was a done deal all along, and I kind of agree that it was, and Manny kind of even sensed it the day he was in San Diego, or even the 2 days he was in San Diego, I'm almost surprised Manny would go along with the in-house sushi dinner.
Well, I think he didn't feel that way going into it. What I got the sense when Manny talked at FanFest was that, like, during the dinner, that was the feeling of, oh yeah, this guy's checked out. He's going to the Dodgers. Not beforehand, but during.
Right, during. And so they kind of figured that out.
Yeah. So how could you know during? Like, oh man, we shouldn't have done this. Like, you don't know that beforehand. You get a vibe, you get a feel when you meet with somebody face to face that they're not interested, and it's like going on it's going like a blind date, right? You don't know.
He was here for 2 days.
He was, but Manny, I don't think, was with him for all.
He was at Petco.
He was?
It was reported he was at Petco that day.
Okay. Well, again, you're not going to be like, after Petco, you're going to be like, hey, let's cancel the dinner.
You just got to go through with it. I mean, I would be very curious to know what those Machado Sasaki conversations were like anyway.
Probably nothing much.
Yeah, that's my guess.
I mean, again, when you have the Dodgers have Shohei, and then you bring in Magic Johnson when Shohei's a big basketball fan.
Bring in your dog.
And your dog, yeah. When you just have every advantage that the Padres don't.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a shoo-in from the beginning.
If it was a shoo-in from the beginning, that's my one thing, though. I guess with the benefit of hindsight, you're right. It was a shoo-in from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I wonder if the Padres thought from the beginning it was a shoo-in, is my point. Because we've been saying on the other side of it was a shoo-in from the beginning.
Doesn't seem like it, though. Seems like they felt
you
like
got to go through it, though, if you have a chance to land. It's like if you have a chance to land LeBron, you got to go through with it, even if you don't land LeBron.
Absolutely. You don't just punt.
Right. Exactly. You have to go through it. Maybe it was a charade in the end. I kind of do think it was a charade. You have to make it look as if you were truly considering all options. Otherwise, it's tampering.
That's why I hate Roki Sasaki.
They're like, oh, man, Toronto's a possibility.
Yeah, shut up.
San Diego, because it's not a large market. He doesn't want a large market, Jim.
Give me a break.
But he chose the largest.
He maybe wants to go somewhere where he can forge his own path and create his own legacy and not be
like
overshadowed
in Los Angeles.
Let's go to the World Champions with
the best Japanese players ever.
This is a joke. Guy sucks.
Oh, BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News. He will join us on the other side. We'll get you ready for San Diego State, Boise State, this critical Mountain West showdown that's coming up next.
This update's brought to you by Rapid Radios. We'll go to the Cactus League to see what the Padres are doing right now. They are tied with the Chicago White Sox 5-all in the top of the ninth. inning in Peoria today. A couple notables. Gavin Sheets has homered for the 4th straight game. Jackson Merrill hit a home run today. And Dylan Cease went 3 2/3, giving up 4 runs, striking out 4, walking 1. Aztecs awards season. Magoon Guath was named the Freshman of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. He was also named the Defensive Player of the Year. And Nick Boyd and Miles Bird were named to second team All Mountain West Conference. And Tiger Woods today announced that he ruptured his Achilles and he's already had surgery on his Achilles. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
All right, be listening for that goal sounder for a chance to win San Diego FC tickets or qualify to win those tickets. You'll hear that sounder between now and the end of the hour. All right, I can't think of a bigger, like, bubble-licious type game. Is that a term? I'm going to use it.
It's a term.
San Diego State, Boise State, Thursday afternoon, Thomas and Mack at 2:30. And I'm talking nationally. Like, this has bubble at large ramifications for the NCAA tournament. And BJ Rains does a terrific job covering Boise State athletics. He's been with us before. Bronco Nation News back with us right now. Again, you can hear it Thursday at 2:30, 10 on the call. Our pregame coverage begins from courtside in Vegas at 1:30. So I'm sure, BJ, you agree. I mean, this is impactful both ways. Boise State, San Diego State, where I think you could argue both of these teams need it, and there might not be a path, right? I mean, for Boise State specifically, I don't know if there's a path to the NCAA tournament. Actually, I do know. There's no path to the NCAA tournament without winning on Thursday, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's probably maybe the game of the tournament. I mean, no doubt. I mean, San Diego State, certainly if they lose, still have a chance at an at-large, but Boise State has to win, and in my opinion, has to win the next game, too, against New Mexico. I mean, I think Boise State still has a lot of work to do, but, I mean, either team, yeah, it could be a loser out of the NCAA tournament game, and it's crazy how much is on the line on a Thursday afternoon at 2:30 Pacific time or whatever it is. I mean, it is pretty crazy. So I think Boise State certainly has more work to do. I mean, frankly, John, I'm surprised they've still been as close to the bubble as they've been, and it's kind of reminded us just how bad the bubble is this year. Because when they lost to Colorado State, I just assumed they were done, and then you wake up today and Jerry Palm still has them in the tournament, and Joe Lenardi has them as the first team out. And so Boise State still obviously feels like if they can win a game or two, they're going to be in contention. San Diego State, I think, like I said, is in a better spot if they do lose, but not a great spot. So both teams feel like this is a must-win game for them. And, the Mountain West is not getting 5 teams in. I'm not even sure they're getting 4 teams in. So this is a massive game for both teams there in the quarterfinals.
BJ, what have you made of San Diego State's season so far? They've beaten Boise twice this year. Magoon Guath, freshman of the year, likely not going to play on Thursday afternoon. What's your overall take with San Diego State's year?
Well, I mean, that's news to me, and that would be news to Boise State because, I mean, they're preparing for Magoon Guath to play, and they'll react,
What was the news you just said, Jim? Wait, what did he just say?
I said likely not to play on Thursday, Magoon Guath.
Dutch said day-to-day today.
Okay, well, that would be, I mean, Boise State doing the right thing. They're preparing for him to play, and then they'll react otherwise. I mean, that last game down there in San Diego, I think, San Diego State had, 10 blocks or 11 blocks? I mean, it was anytime Boise State got in the paint, it was just, the ball ended up in the 5th row of the stands. I mean, it was, it's just not of all the teams in the league, San Diego State is just not a great matchup for them because their size inside, particularly with Guath. So, I mean, if Guath doesn't play, that changes things in a big way because I think he was credited with 6 or 7 blocks himself in the last game there in San Diego. And, Boise State's not a great 3-point shooting team at all. I mean, that's being kind. I mean, they're, outside the top 200 in 3-point shooting. So, if they are not able to go into the paint, then they're settling for a lot of threes. And if they're not hitting them, which they usually don't, then that signals bad news for Boise State. So I think San Diego State, obviously, I mean, it's a lot of new names this year, a lot of new faces, but now that fans have gotten to see these guys and realize, where these guys have come from and what they've done. I mean, I've told this story before with you when I talked to Brian Dutcher, over the summer for Lindy's magazine. I was going in thinking, okay, maybe San Diego State is 6th or 7th preseason. Didn't really do much in the transfer portal. Lost all 5 starters, and after I hung up after 20 minutes of talking to Brian Dutcher, I had him 3rd or 4th. I mean, he was so high on these guys, and I said, you know what, I got to take this guy's word for it. He knows what he's talking about. He's good at getting them going, and and he knew about Guaf. He knew about some of these guys that a lot of fans and media members like myself didn't know about. So took his word for it. I think I put him fourth preseason, and that's where they ended up. And I know it hasn't been a typical San Diego State team. They've lost a couple of games that they, maybe typically wouldn't lose, but they've done a really nice job, putting the pieces together this year with a lot of newcomers. And, they've certainly had Boise State's number the last, 2 games this year. And like I said, it's just especially if Guaf plays, it's just a bad matchup for him because they don't have a ton of size on the interior. Tyson Degenhart, 6'8", 6'8.5". He just doesn't do well against big, long, lanky guys, and that's just been a bad matchup for him in the last 2 games. But if Guaf doesn't play, I certainly think that changes things a lot.
PJ Reigns, Bronco Nation News, with us right now on Jon and Jim. How do you look at, the league's not getting the same acclaim as last year, and that's understandable. I mean, 6 teams in the tournament's incredible, and that's not to be expected, obviously, this year. But the league's been good. I mean, the top 5 teams in this league are all capable of reaching the NCAA tournament. I think that's at least fair and reasonable. So as you look at it right now, who's safe? New Mexico's safe? Do you think Utah State is firmly safe heading into this event, regardless of what they do or not?
I think so. I mean, if they lose to UNLV, in the quarterfinals, maybe they get a little bit scary. But yeah, I think New Mexico and UNLV New Mexico and Utah State have certainly done enough at this point to put themselves firmly in the field. I mean, I believe San Diego State's pretty safe as well. I just think their name's going to carry some cachet. They've got the pedigree, they've got the tradition, the history. I mean, if they lose to Boise State, that's not a bad loss by any means. I mean, I believe that's a quad 1 loss because I think Boise State's still top 50 in the net. So I mean, I don't see San Diego State dropping out even if they lose in the quarterfinals. I know Joe Lenardi moved them into the last 4 in. They may have to go to Dayton, but I can't see San Diego State with a loss being out of the tournament. But I'm wrong often, and we'll see. But I mean, I think I really feel like those 3 teams are pretty safely in my opinion. And I think Boise State, Colorado State are hoping to try to get lucky and maybe get a 4th spot if there's not a lot of bid stealers, which to this point we haven't had any that I've seen. So I mean, I think that one of those 2 teams maybe gets hot and goes on a run, and maybe you can get 4 in. But I think for sure New Mexico, Utah State are fine. And no, I agree with you, John. I mean, they're not getting the 6 teams in like last year, and they're not getting the quad 1 opportunities like they had last year. I mean, there was every other game in the Mountain West was a quad 1 game for a lot of these teams. And we saw that the committee basically said, I know it's quad 1, but we don't buy it. The Mountain West just isn't very good. You've manipulated the numbers. Like, we're not going to count that. And so last year, it didn't really matter how many quad 1 games they got. But, I think a point that not a lot of people have talked about, John, there's 5 new committee members this year.
Right.
I mean, there's 12 people on the committee. Almost half the committee is brand new. We don't know how they're going to vote. We don't know how they're going to sway. Everyone's just assuming the Mountain West is going to get no respect like they did last year. But with almost half the committee being new, maybe the Mountain West does get a little more respect this year. Maybe you're a Mountain West fan, maybe you hold out hope that the ones that didn't like the Mountain West are all gone, and you bring in some new blood. Maybe the Mountain West does get a little respect, and you can get 4 teams in this thing.
To your point, real quick, and I'll get it back to Jim. But 7 of the 12 I heard on the committee are actually non-power league members. So 7 of the 12 represent non-power leagues. And the other point you just made, I hadn't thought about, that if San Diego State beats Boise, they get a quad 1 win. You could argue the value of it this late in the year. But if Boise beats San Diego State, they won't earn a quad 1 win. San Diego State right now is 51st in the net. Being outside the top 50 would make it a quad 2 win for Boise State. Again, it's so late in the year. We'll see if that matters one way or the other or not.
BJ, since the last time that Boise State faced off against San Diego State, it was a blowout win for the Aztecs here. Boise's won 5 of 6 to end their season. Obviously, the loss to Colorado State to end their year. Just since the last time these 2 teams matched up, from a Boise perspective, has anything changed since then? How they've played since then, and what should Aztecs fans expect tomorrow? Pretty much the same thing, or anything different?
Yeah, I mean, I think on Thursday, certainly, like I said, the matchup is what it is. San Diego State's won both the meetings, but Boise State is playing much better, and they had won 4 in a row before they went down there to San Diego State, lost that game, then won 5 in a row before losing the other day. It's just kind of been multiple times this year. Whenever you kind of count Boise State out, whenever you kind of just the fan base wants to say, okay, it's time for Leon Rice to go. Oh, it's time for blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just seems like this year there's been multiple times this year where the fan base has kind of given up, and my post-game shows have been, can't miss stuff. I mean, it is what it is, but it seems like there's been 3 or 4 times this year where they've hit their quote-unquote rock bottom moment. Everyone gives up, and then they win the next game or go on a 4-game winning streak or come back and, they lost to San Diego State. Everyone's given up. They come back and beat New Mexico 3 days later. and then they go beat Utah State a week later. Like, they've got some nice wins. They beat Clemson. They beat St. Mary's. Like, they've got some really nice. St. Mary's playing tonight here in Las Vegas for the championship. Boise State beat them on a neutral court, pretty handedly. So, I mean, they've got some nice wins. And then the big thing for me is, I don't know if it's just a Leon Rice staple, which it really has. You go back and look at the last 5, 6, 7 years. They don't lose a lot of back-to-back games. They just play really well. They bounce back. That's kind of a Leon Rice type thing where they lose a game, everyone gives up or whatever. And this year in particular, like I said, they've had multiple times, including that game at San Diego State. I remember going into the New Mexico game after Boise State had lost to San Diego State. There was 1% of Boise State fans really giving them a chance. We just got crushed by San Diego State. How are we going to beat New Mexico? Like, what, and Boise State beat them, should have beat them by double digits, won by 8, and controlled the game from start to finish. So I just feel like, even a lot of Boise State fans are not giving them much of a chance in this game, kind of just assuming, this is another typical year, a bad matchup, play them out in the quarterfinals, whatever. But this team has proven this year they can bounce back, they can respond. And, they may not win, but they're certainly going to give a good effort, and I would expect a competitive, close game on Thursday.
I mean, part of it, and we'll let you run, BJ, is like the agony and the ecstasy is typically March, but Boise's season is that. I mean, sometimes college basketball comes down to like a play. You're on the right side of a game, you're on the wrong side of a game. San Diego State lost a home game to Utah State they should not have lost. They were up 18. They're up 7 at 90 seconds. There was a block charge that went against the Aztecs. Shouldn't have. Miles Bird fouls out. Utah State scores the last 8 points and loses. But I've been watching these Boise games. They've had like 4 games that are coin flips, maybe more. Tell me if I'm wrong. Where you got to win some of the coin flip games. And they're 0 for 4 in coin flip games where they're just as good as they've been, if not better. They just haven't had the right result, which puts them just on the outside looking in. But they're so dangerous because they've been in all of these games by and large. And if they get one additional break along the way, they're probably firmly in the field, but they just haven't gotten the breaks. And sometimes that happens. But I mean, this is a team that, correct me if I'm wrong, is probably as good as the last 2 or 3 Boise teams.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the All Mountain West Awards, they've got Tyson Degenhardt, who's first team. They've got Alvaro Cardenas, second team. And so they have 2 of the top 10 players in the league right off the bat. You throw in the 6th man of the year in Javen Buchanan, and that's not even counting what Andrew Meadow and some other guys have done off the bench. I had Andrew Meadow third team. He scored at least like 17 points in his last 5 games. And so, the game at Utah State, they should have beat Utah State. It was a 4-point play where a 3-pointer rolled around 10 times on the rim and then fell in, and they got a foul call. They won that game at Moby Arena. They should have beat Colorado State. They gave up an offensive rebound, a kick out. Colorado State scores with 3 seconds left on a 3-pointer, and they win that game. I mean, those 2 right there, if they get one of those 2, they're probably firmly in the field. But if they get both, I mean, I think they win the league. So, I mean, it is what it is, not making excuses. They lost on a buzzer beater in the championship of the Cayman Islands tournament to Boston, a bad Boston College team. They just played terrible. 3rd game in 3 days, had nothing left, and blew that game. They lost to a bad Washington State team early in the year. So they've got a couple bad losses, which are haunting them right now, and a couple losses where, they should have won and just had a lot of bad luck. But it is what it is. I'm not making excuses. They've lost those games. That the record is what it is, as Bill Parcells would say. And here they are in a dire strait going into this tournament. But they felt like the game, they feel like at times they've played with San Diego State. They just haven't been able to finish the deal. They've had some bad, 4 or 5 minute stretches where the game really got away from them in both cases. But as you said, a Degenhardt, a Stanley, a Cardenas, 3 guys with as much experience in this league and in tournament, settings as anybody in the league. They feel like they'll take their chances. So, it's been an up and down year. They were picked to win the league, finish 5th, not the season they were hoping for. And, John, another thing is they really have not played well in the Mountain West tournament. Leon Rice's history here, they just, for whatever reason, have not played great in the Mountain West tournament. So there's, for good reason, a lot of fans are not expecting much this weekend here, and whether it's the Crown or the NIT or whatever is ahead of them. But, Tyson Degenhardt is 32 points away from becoming the all-time leading scorer at Boise State. And so I think he's motivated. I think Boise State, the players, the coaches, still feel like they have this magical run in them where Tyson Degenhardt can play in an NCAA tournament to finish out his career. Alvaro Cardenas never played in the NCAA tournament. So they, long answer to your question, but they feel like that there's still destiny, whatever you want to call it. They feel like there's still a lot of reasons for them to keep trying to keep swinging here, and they've still got a lot of wins left. And I think obviously Thursday is a massive game for them for a lot of reasons.
BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News. BJ, looking forward to seeing you this week in Las Vegas, and I will see you when it's a 2-point game with 1:59 to play on Thursday afternoon in Las Vegas. It has the makings of what should be a closely played game between San Diego State and Boise State. Always appreciate it, and I'll see you this weekend, all right?
Can't wait, man. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Looking forward to it. BJ Rains. All right, on the other side, what on earth was New Era thinking? That's next, Jon and Jim. All right, be listening for that sounder from Adrian Garcia Marquez, the soccer goal call, for a chance to qualify to win 2 free tickets to San Diego FC Columbus Crew Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium. We're qualifying someone every hour. We'll have a grand prize qualifier at the end of today's show, and then you'll find out if you are that grand prize qualifier if you win on Friday afternoon. So Jon and Jim with you until 6 p.m. Nick Boyd, Aztecs second team All Mountain West selection, will join us at 4:30. Darnay Tripp, arguably a friend of the show. It's arguable.
Emphasis on the word arguable.
He will join us coming up at 5 p.m. So you know how I wear a lot of hats?
You love hats.
I love hats.
To the point where
it's a problem.
Your wife is like, you better not come home with any more hats or we're going to have an issue.
I spend a lot of money on hats, truthfully. Every month I'm buying.
Like some people collect shoes. A lot of people collect shoes. Yep. You collect hats.
So New Era is always coming up with new ideas, and they've run out of them. Like they fully run out of them. Whether it was like the July 4th caps for Major League Baseball, which I thought were cool like 15 years ago, but they've run out of ideas. 2 All-Star Game caps, which again, arguably have been cool at times, but sometimes have been awful. And now they're just doing random designs. And the latest design, I mean, you'd have to go online to fully see it, but it's like the word for the team. So across the front of the bill of the hat, or the front of the hat, will say the word Padres, but then it's blocked by the logo of the team. So it says Padres, but then the SD logo is right in the middle of the word Padres. So you can't even see the word Padres.
Right.
So it says like PA, SD logo, ES. Like it doesn't even make any sense. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten to the point where they did one with the Texas Rangers and they've had to like repeal the hat because what's on the hat is offensive.
I would argue that New Era and Nike have really missed on damn near everything that they have tried to do for baseball. There have been a couple cool City Connect jerseys for sure, but more like a higher percentage of awful ones than a percentage of good ones.
I agree.
I think the like the random 4th of July caps, like with your just regular jerseys and then like a red, white, and blue cap is stupid.
Yeah, when you wear brown and gold and then you have this red hat.
Like it looks good if you're the Nationals or the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's true.
But like if you're the Astros or the Padres, it just or the Dodgers, it looks dumb.
Yep.
Like, come on, we can do better than that.
Mm-hmm.
We can do a lot better than that. I think what they should, like, simple is better. I think that's a problem with companies nowadays and a lot of stuff. It's like, simple is better. You don't need to have this like grand plan to create something that's like out of the box and brand new. What people want is just like simple, clean, good stuff. And these hats are awful. They're a joke.
Yeah, again, the word of the team name, right? Padres across the front, or Rangers, or Yankees. And then the logo in the middle of that word, so you can't read the word. It says Yankees, but in the middle is an NY logo, so it's blocking multiple letters of the word Yankees.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any... Like, I get that there's like... Sometimes you watch like a fashion show, you're like, what is this? This is the future of fashion?
Yeah, it's not.
But there's like a purpose in there. What New Era is doing, this isn't a fashion show. People are actually going to buy these and wear these. This isn't setting the future of fashion in Paris. This is selling hats to Major League Baseball fans. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when it just makes literally no sense.
The Astros hat.
Okay.
I can't even say it on radio because it sounds too much like a curse word.
Okay. So I have to see the Astros.
A-S.
Yeah. Okay.
H-O-S.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I can't even say that because I'm afraid that it sounds too much like a curse word.
Right.
And then Texas, you can't say that either because it's. I mean,
these are awful, dude. I mean, all of them are bad.
Every single one.
I'm looking at all 30
Not
teams.
One hat is good.
The funny thing is, they'll sell.
Some kid. I remember. It was a couple years ago. They did this. They did something similar to this, right? And the Oakland A's hat at the time, it looked like it spelled the word ass.
I remember that.
And it was like,
well, how about the Padres? The Padres has a Pula hat because it was offensive.
Yeah.
A New Era hat. And I'm not even going to explain the reason as to why.
I mean, what is New Era? New Era is awful. I think Nike has really fallen off a cliff. I think that their jerseys that they make, like especially in the NBA, I mean, why can't we just have NBA teams wearing their regular jerseys?
I threw on a game the other day, and if it wasn't for the floor that said Memphis, neither team. The colors they were wearing didn't remind me of either of the two teams that were playing.
Like, why are we trying? I know why we're doing it, so we can sell it.
Yeah,
but
who's buying?
I'm sorry, when a team has a different jersey every single game in the NBA, or in baseball, you come up with these just god awful City Connect jerseys. What are we doing?
The Phillies one, which has the P in the middle for the Phillies P, is Fippies. Like you said, the Padres make zero. I mean, none of these make any sense. None of them do. I'm looking at, there's some horrific design. The Angels that you can't see the G, so it's, well, shoot, I can't say that either.
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on.
Look at that. What does that look like?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You can't say that.
Like, take out the G and put in an A.
Yeah.
You got a problem.
You got a big problem, especially if you pronounce it a certain way. Dude, what were they thinking?
I don't know, man.
Whoever made these hats, like, you're fired. I'm sorry.
The
you're
Mariners
fired.
without the R, but the S logo is the Masoners. Masoners. These are just, it's comically bad.
Yeah.
Which honestly probably leads to sales because they're actually getting
Publicity.
talk and PR that it may actually lead to something.
I don't stand by any publicity is good publicity.
I agree.
I don't, because the last thing you want is to be on the wrong side of that.
Right.
And if you're on the wrong side of that, things can go downhill very, very fast. Like, side note, random story. Last night I was watching on Hulu a new documentary of like a social media family, Devil in the Family it's called.
Okay.
And this is they're a perfect example of getting bad publicity for a video they did, and then everything completely going downhill, like to the worst of the worst. So again, bad publicity is not always good, and I don't feel like this is good for these stupid hats.
I agree with you. All right, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. Again, be listening for that sounder for a chance to qualify to win San Diego FC tickets. Nick Boyd, Aztec guard, will join us at 4:30. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Rapid Radios. John, Padres with a walk-off win today in the Cactus League over the Chicago White Sox to get out of the cellar in the Cactus League. They won 7-5 thanks to a Gavin Sheets walk-off 2-run home run. It was the second home run of the game. Jackson Merrill also had a home run in the game. And Dylan Cease started the game going 3 2/3, giving up 4 runs, striking out 4, walking 1. Moving over to Aztecs awards. Magoon Guath was named Freshman of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. Also was named the Defensive Player of the Year. Miles Bird and Nick Boyd were named to the second team All Mountain West Conference. And Tiger Woods announced today they had surgery on a ruptured Achilles. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
I'd be very surprised, Jim, based on what we heard yesterday. You're not going to act as a farm team here at the Yankees back-to-back off seasons.
I wouldn't be surprised if those calls have taken place multiple times this offseason about Dylan Cease.
Yep.
And maybe over the last week, maybe even as recent as yesterday or this morning regarding Dylan Cease because of the news to Garrett Cole being out for the year with Tommy John.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? Hour 3, Jon and Jim. Nick Boyd, second team All Mountain West, named that earlier today. FAU transfer. He has played in the Final Four. He's in his first year with the Aztecs. He's getting ready for Thursday. He will join us at 4:30.
I have a question.
I played in the Final Four, yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Where were you when Gavin Sheets hit his second home run of the game today and it was a walk-off?
Sitting next to you.
Oh, that's right.
He's hit 5 home runs in 4 games.
Yeah.
Also singled today with his 2 home runs.
He was 3 for 3, 2 home runs, 3 RBI.
He's clearly on the team because he's clearly on the team because when you do that, you make a team. This isn't some deep. I mean, this is not, a deep bench. We've been talking about it for 6 months. So he's earning his way to occasionally DH, is he not? Based on this, I mean, just because you make the team doesn't mean you're there all year
against righties. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you homer in 4 consecutive games in the middle of March, I tend to believe you're probably putting yourself in a position to make a team.
Would you say he would take maybe Tirso Ornella's spot?
There's a good example because Tirso can start the year in the minor leagues and you can see what plays out with Gavin Sheets. That's definitely a possibility. I just tend to believe, and again, I don't put all the stock in what happens in spring. But when someone actually just goes and takes the job, like when you homer in 4 straight games, that's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
Again, if it's the backup third baseman, you're not supplanting Manny Machado. But when you're looking for bench pieces, that's a good way to end up on a bench.
He did homer today. Let me just look this up real quick. Just want to look this up.
Was it off anyone of substance or just some
he homered off of number 97, Bryce Collins.
Oh, Bryce Collins is who he homered off?
He did.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
That was the walk-off home run. So
yeah, anyone pitching in the 9th inning of a spring training game we've never heard of.
Right.
It's not Robert Suarez in the 9th inning.
Right. I'm looking at the White Sox pitchers ERA in spring here.
It might not be good.
Anderson has a 31.5 ERA. Collins ERA is infinity.
That's not good.
Schuster has an 11.57 ERA and Cannon has an 11.25 ERA.
Okay, it's the White Sox travel team. They weren't even at home.
I know.
So
and the Padres still had trouble beating them.
When you say it that way, I mean, maybe Sheets hasn't guaranteed his spot, punched his ticket. I think he'll be on the roster.
But if you're looking at, what can you have as far as matchups go?
Right.
And I don't know what they're going to do at the DH spot. It kind of feels like a little bit of a revolving door there.
Yeah.
Maybe Luis Arise a lot of times is the DH so they can have better defense on the field. But, I mean, opening day, you're going to be facing Chris Sale. He's a lefty. So you're not going to have Gavin Sheets in the lineup.
That's okay.
You're probably going to have, I think maybe you have a matchup DH where it's Eggy Rosario and Gavin Sheets. Eggy's out there against lefties. Gavin Sheets is out there against righties. I would love to know what Schilte's nickname is for Gavin Sheets. Probably Sheetsy.
I wouldn't say it. Okay. Be careful.
I already said it.
Yeah, no, Sheetsy's better than taking the S off.
Sheetsy. That sounds fine. It's like a new era cap. Can't say it on radio.
All I know is
way to describe when they play bad too.
Yeah.
Right. All I know is this: if you homer in 4 straight Cactus League games, there should be some type of award for it, and that award should be being a bench piece.
Or you just continue to play in Cactus League games.
Imagine if he ends up hitting like
15
What
home
if
runs.
it's like in the next 9 games he homers in? We'll see how it plays out. I'm not overly concerned one way or the other.
Again, if Gavin Sheets isn't on the opening day roster, I'm not.
Are you going to lose your mind?
Lose my mind.
You will or won't?
I won't.
Yeah,
did I say will?
No, you said you won't.
I won't.
You won't.
It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. It's not like they're leaving Manny Machado off the opening day roster.
Can you imagine? I want to hear though from like Schulte afterwards, after the game.
Greatest win ever.
Winners find solutions.
Well, now they are tied with the White Sox for the worst record in Cactus League play at 5-12. So,
what's the best record, by the way?
The best record, John. It's a good question. Is the San Francisco Giants 11-3?
All right. Again, it's early. Not in the Cactus League, but like the season. It's very early. Do we want to get to the wrap? We have time to do that?
We have all the time in the
questions
world
to do it. All right, let's get to the wrap.
It's time for the wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
How many bids will be stolen in conference tournaments this year?
3.
Jim. 3?
I don't know. I have no idea. I just said a number.
Nobody knows. That's the thing. Do you have any?
No clue, John.
Leagues
You're
possible?
You're not asking the right person.
I'm not.
No.
Brent's not. One of the most likely leagues is the Mountain West, like Colorado State or Boise State.
Right.
Another possible league would be the American, because Memphis is the only team supposed to go to the tournament. So if they don't win that tournament, someone else is going to the NCAA tournament. I'm hoping it's less than 3 for San Diego State's. For San Diego State, I'm hoping it's less than 3. Shoot, I'm hoping it's less than 3 for UC San Diego as well. I'm hoping it's 0-1-2. I'll say 2. It's hard to imagine it's none. It'll definitely be 1. I'll say 2. I'm hoping for the under on 3. Last year, an all-time high 5. Root for a lot less than that if you're an Aztecs fan or a Triton fan in 2025. Next question.
Should Gavin Sheets be the Padres DH to start the season?
Well, I mean, the guy is Barry Bonds 2.0 right now. So I think if he keeps this up and he starts hitting against more regulars instead of number 97s of the world on the freaking White Sox travel team.
97.
Yeah, I think he has a chance, but he's going to have to ball out. I don't think he's one of those guys that's like, oh, yeah, he was a fringe guy to begin with and just a couple of good at-bats here and there. Yeah, he's definitely make the team. I think he had a long way to go to make this team, truthfully. But, I mean, it doesn't hurt that he's doing what he's doing in spring training right now.
Where the hell is this? This guy's been... Oh, he did it against his former team?
Yeah. Former team, but the team was, travel White Sox team, I think.
Right. So let me get this straight. He has spent 4 years in the major leagues, all with the White Sox. And he's hit 46 home runs in 435 games. So he can run into a ball. But his career WAR is negative 2.7.
Yes.
And his career OPS is 680. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's the starting DH to your point. Is he a platooning DH or given an opportunity to start the year? Yeah, it seems very possible. But I'm not counting on Gavin Sheets to have this huge, ultra-productive year. I just think he might be one of their 13 position players to start the year.
He is, power bat off the bench if he does make this roster. And there's not many power bats on the bench this team has, if any.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. And he does have some pop in that bat. That's the thing. Next question.
What's your favorite sports month?
I thought the question was, what's your favorite sports?
Like badminton.
Well, I mean, it's hard. I know we're in March now, March Madness.
Gym fact.
Basketball, baseball coming up. I would have to say, this is really hard to beat. I'll just go with more close, like October, because you got NFL. Yeah. You do have all sports
starting. Yeah,
you have baseball postseason. Football starting up, college football starting up. You have the NBA starting up, and you have the NHL. So you got all that. I mean, I know we have had times where all sports have been played on the same day. And I think because of that, that would be my favorite month. But again, there's some I can't. It's like choosing between like your firstborn and your secondborn. I love this time of the year too because the baseball season's starting, March Madness, Masters. Like
you love both your kids.
It's great. Yeah, I love them both.
Here's the thing. For me, it's March when your team is in it, when your team's in the conversation.
Yeah.
That to me is kind of special and unique, but I'm with you on fall too. I mean, that October is a good point. It's hard to choose one month because every month for what we do, I find intriguing every single month. I can tell you about opening day, typically has been in April for the last 5 years. I could sell you on the start of college football in the NFL. I could sell myself on Super Bowl or college football postseason, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of months for me that I find interesting, hence the fact we do what we do. Next question.
Should Tiger Woods hang him up?
Oh, here we go.
I don't care. We needed a fourth question.
Yeah. Should he hang it up? Well, he should get healthy first.
He'll never be healthy again.
Well, at least get healthy enough to like go out and swing a golf club, not on a ruptured Achilles.
How did it happen?
I have no idea.
Because remember he put out that statement a couple of weeks ago when he was at Torrey for his event that's normally in Los Angeles, saying like it was after his mother's passing, saying he wasn't going to play because of his mother's passing. Completely reasonable and fair. But was he healthy then also? I don't know. Like, has he been? Because he hasn't played this year, right?
He's played in his like indoor
Pro-Am
tournament.
Oh, the TGL thing.
Yeah, the TGL, but nothing like
hang him up.
Tour.
Go to the Hall of Fame. Is there a Hall of Fame
in golf?
Yeah, is he in it?
Good question. I'm not quite sure on that. I'm sure there is some type of Hall of Fame for golfers,
but then he should be in it, right?
He'll be in some type of Hall.
Maybe
of Fame.
That's a reason to hang him up, so he can be in the Golf Hall of
Fame.
Fame.
It's not like baseball where you got to hang it up and then 5 years later you get voted into the Hall of Fame.
There is a PGA
NFL.
Hall of Fame.
Well, that makes sense. All right, still to come. Be listening for the sounder for your chance to qualify to win San Diego FC tickets. You'll hear an Adrian Garcia Marquez goal call. Nick Boyd, San Diego State first-year guard, named second team All Mountain West. Getting ready for Thursday, and Boise State in the Mountain West quarterfinals. He will join us coming up at 4:30. We have Trainwreck Radio to get to. Darnay Tripp, friend of the show, arguably, will join us at 5 p.m. So there's a lot to get to. Full reaction to a Padres walk-off win in Peoria. It's Jon and Jim.
San Diego FC!
All right, if you want to hear Ted Leitner on the call Thursday afternoon, make sure to download the all-new iHeartRadio app. You can turn your TV down, turn the app up, download it, put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets, put Jon and Jim in your presets. You can listen back to any hour of our show, any interview we do on the show, like with today's bracketologist, Jim, JVR.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure to download the app and put us in your presets.
Are you going to go back and listen to that interview when you drive home today, Jon?
Let me see what's in. So I look at what like bracketology.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine
audio enters. By the way, I was so mad last night because my AirPods and they're not charged, and I can't sit there in bed like without the AirPods.
You can't do
bracketology.
You can't put the phone to your ear.
And what could I do? Could I be like, hey, my stomach hurts. I'm going downstairs and sleep on the couch, and then just sit there and listen to like podcasts? I can't do that.
I mean, you could. That'd be a very Jon Schaefer thing to do.
Right. So I just didn't listen to anything. And I was so upset because I felt like I was so behind.
Were you even able to fall asleep last night?
I tossed and turned.
Yeah, I can understand.
You know,
not being able to listen to a bracketologist before you go to bed can really affect you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly right. So like in my latest episodes,
only you would be affected by not listening to a bracketologist.
Yeah, like I got an eye on college basketball that came in this afternoon. I'll turn that on the way home. If the Odd Couple doesn't have a guest that I'm looking forward to listening to, I start with the Odd Couple.
No, you don't.
Is the Odd Couple on after us? Yeah, so I'll turn on the Odd Couple.
No, you don't.
With the hosts. All right, I have a serious question for you. I have a serious question for you. This is serious.
Okay, what do you got?
Because you know where I'm going with this if you see this. Are you worried about the San Francisco 49ers?
Oh, here we go.
I just see the Schefter tweet. Who's been traded? Who's been cut? Who's gone in free agency? It's a long list.
Yeah. All right, let's go over this list for you.
This has been like stability organization over the last 3 or 4 years, right? They kind of have kept the pieces intact.
All right, here we go.
Yeah,
I'll raid this right now, and I'll give you the free agents.
You'll raid this?
I'll read this right now. I'm dealing with a little bit of like a cold sore on my tongue. Not great for radio. I will give you the players that I am like upset that are gone. From the Niners.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
That's fine.
Kyle Juszczyk, Leonard Floyd, Javon Hargrave, Malik Collins, Drake Greenlaw, Charvarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Aaron Banks, Jalen Moore, Elijah Mitchell, Josh Dobbs. Of the names I just read.
Is that everyone that's left?
No.
So what about the trade?
Oh, and Debo.
Okay.
So traded, cut, or left in free agency. Okay. Really? There's like one guy on that list.
What?
Yeah.
You're pulling the classic like Machado. We didn't need him.
No, there's no Machado on this list.
Okay. Debo, maybe not last year, but he's meant a lot.
He has, but if you look at his track record and resume, let's be real. Fair. Like, take the fandom out. He's had one good season. And that was
always thought he was good because
3 years ago.
I thought he had good value because he was like a jack of all trades.
But when he was the jack of all trades and put in that position last year,
it didn't work.
He completely underperformed.
Okay.
And the money that he's getting paid, like,
bye-bye.
Kyle Juszczyk, very replaceable. He's a fan favorite.
Yep.
But paying that much money to a fullback that doesn't do much, and when he does get the ball, you better be perfect. Like,
right.
It's fine.
Okay, it's fine.
Leonard Floyd, he did have 8.5 sacks last year for them, but
he did have 24.5 sacks last year.
It's whatever. Javon Hargrave was a bust of a signing. Malik Collins was fine, but whatever. Charvarius Ward, fine, but whatever. Talanoa Hufanga was an all-pro a couple years ago, but he can't cover. He's more of a linebacker than he is a safety. Aaron Banks was a backup, and he got a boatload of money. Good for him. There's no way the Niners should have ever paid him. Jalen Moore was a backup, filled in nicely, but he also got a boatload of money. Elijah Mitchell, always hurt. Josh Dobbs, who cares?
What about Greenlaw?
Drake Greenlaw is the only guy where I'm like, oh, that sucks. Because when he's out there, he's like the heart and soul of that defense. Now, he is coming off of an Achilles tear.
That happened the year before in the Super Bowl.
Right. And he did play last year. And in the first half, when he returned, he was amazing. But he immediately got shut down because his Achilles was sore and they didn't want to risk it. And Achilles injuries are always difficult. I mean, in the NFL, the way this guy plays and how hard he plays, it's a risk, but I would have taken that risk on Trey Greenlaw because I think he's that important. Everybody else is replaceable in my mind.
Man, tell us how you really feel. Now they're coming off a bad year. Yeah. I get it, but they're not coming off a bad like 2 to 4 years.
If they won the Super Bowl last year, and all the guys I named had like baller seasons,
like, there goes the Super Bowl.
then it's like, whoa, what the hell?
Okay, it's a good point. It's like if you're coming off a down year, there are going to be some changes.
You're trimming the fat from a 6-11 team. You're not like saying, all right, time to get rid of Christian McCaffrey, time to get rid of Kittle or Fred Warner or Trent Williams. Like, you know, they're keeping the players that are good. They're trimming the fat. And what they're going to do this year with their 11 picks in the draft is go very young. And they have to hit on their draft picks. And that's what it is right now. I see a lot of people saying the Niners are done. The Niners are done. Okay. That's fine. They also have an awful schedule this year. It's a little concerning.
Awful in terms of it's actually easier, right?
The team's
an easier schedule.
Yeah. And there's a little concern if you're a Niners fan. But all in all, the players that are now off this team, I don't think if you're a Niners fan, you should be like freaking the F out right now. A little, but not like, oh my God.
Because here's the thing, like McCaffrey was hurt last year. They're going to need production from McCaffrey. They're going to have to take advantage of a quote unquote easier schedule. And again, they're only a season removed from playing in the Super Bowl. And I don't know, those things happen so quick in the NFL.
Like they have the 11th pick in the draft.
Right. So they're going to have to hit on these picks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key here.
Yep.
Is if out of the 11 picks for them in this upcoming draft, say they hit on 2.
No, that's not good enough.
That's not good enough.
They're going to need contributors right away from like a handful of these guys.
Like damn near 50% or more need to hit.
Yeah,
I think they have 4 picks in the top 100. I would say you got to hit 3 or 4 there, and then crapshoot the rest of the way.
What are they doing with that 11th pick? I mean, position wise.
I don't know. But
why? You're like the GM.
If it were up to me, no.
Right.
There has been recent talk, like, you know, with a very deep draft as far as defensive linemen go, you can get good defensive linemen later in the draft. And if you are, you know, keeping one eye on the present and one eye on the future, I do think, and it's a flashy pick, I do think Tyler Warren from Penn State could be like one of those picks where he helps obviously in the now, and Kittle's older. So when Kittle's gone, you have your replacement for Kittle in an offense that really banks on the tight end being a big part of it.
Yeah, guy was an absolute monster a year ago in college football. All right, speaking of college basketball.
There's my Niners segment for the week.
Yeah, that was great. Nick Boyd, second team All Mountain West, getting ready for Thursday, this critical game for the Aztecs. Nick Boyd joins us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Cactus League action today. Padres beating the White Sox thanks to a walk-off home run by Gavin Sheets. It was his second of the game. Jackson Merrill had a home run in the game. And Dylan C. started the game going 3 2/3, giving up 4 earned runs, striking out 4, walking 1. Aztecs awards. Today they were announced. Magoon Guath named the freshman of the year in the Mountain West Conference, also the defensive player of the year in the Mountain West Conference. Miles Bird named to the All Mountain West Conference second team, also All Mountain West Conference defensive team. And Nick Boyd, who'll be joining us coming up next, was named to the All Mountain West second team. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Be listening for that sounder, by the way, for a chance to win those SDFC tickets or qualify to win SDFC tickets for Saturday. We're scheduled to be joined by Nick Boyd, San Diego State, first year in the program, transferred from FAU, played in the Final Four, was named second team All Mountain West today. Now, they were on the practice floor this afternoon, so we'll try to connect with Nick as soon as we can. They're less than 48 hours away, SDSU is, from playing Boise State in Las Vegas. This will be Thursday at 2:30. Ted Leitner on the call. Our pregame coverage is going to begin at 1:30. Nick spoke with the media today. Magoon Guath spoke to the media today, Jim. We haven't even touched on that, have we?
Not on air.
Not on air.
No.
We have off air. If you've heard us off air. So a couple of interesting things today. Brian Dutcher said that Magoon Guath was day-to-day in terms of his availability from a hyperextended knee. It's been about 2.5 weeks, maybe a little longer. And then Magoon Guath was asked by Mark Ziegler about his future plans. And, you know, I'd be paraphrasing. It wasn't like a long-winded answer. It was back and forth, but I tweeted it out. So basically what I got out of it was that he plans to test NBA waters. Like he plans to get the evaluation from NBA leagues, get feedback, and then make a decision on his future. And that decision could be turn pro. That decision could be return to San Diego State. And that decision for any player in any stop is you could enter the transfer portal. So the point is we don't know on Guath moving forward. Shoot, we don't know on Guath for Thursday, let alone 2025-26.
I always think it's a good thing for these guys to go get evaluated by NBA scouts, to just go through that process. Yeah, it's not entering the transfer portal. You're just getting an opinion from scouts on what they like and then what they think you need to work on. And then they give you advice on, you know, if you were to actually enter the NBA draft process right now, where they think you would go. Like, are you a lottery pick? Are you an undrafted guy? Are you a second round guy? Or are you a late first round guy? And it's no harm, no foul. And then you make your decision from there. And hopefully, you know, we didn't hear it from Magoon today. Like we heard from Miles Bird saying like, it's either return or enter the pros, but I will not enter the transfer portal. We didn't hear that from Magoon today. And that's always a possibility. So you just kind of keep your fingers crossed on that one.
All right, so we'll talk more about that in the days and weeks ahead. But right now, we do have Nick Boyd, who's coming off a terrific regular season, playing some of the best basketball of his career right now, and named second team All Mountain West by voters after his first season on the Mesa with San Diego State in the league. He also got my vote for Mountain West Newcomer of the Year, if it matters. And Nick Boyd is with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Nick, we always appreciate the time, and congratulations on all the individual honors. I know you have bigger goals ahead for the team, but is it gratifying, or how gratifying is it to be recognized? And thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. And yeah, it's definitely gratifying. It's been it feels like forever now since I've been here. It's only been a year, but just a long time coming, and just, a whole process wrapped up and everything. And I'm grateful. I thank God every single day that, he slapped me in the face and told me to come to San Diego State.
You completed your schedule for the regular season. Your last game at Viejas was this past weekend. Just give us your thoughts and experience playing at Viejas in front of this crowd this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. I mean, you you're at the games, you see how riled up I get, how much energy I have when I'm out there on the court. So it's just been awesome, man. I appreciate the fans, the loyalty they've shown through the ups and downs of the regular season. I appreciate my teammates so much just for believing in me, trusting me, and allowing me to lead them, even if I was wrong or right. So it's been everything I can ask for in terms of a first year here on the Mesa, and I'm looking forward to this postseason.
Nick Boyd with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So speaking of the postseason, March is here. You'll get Boise State on Thursday afternoon. You've played in some big-time games in your career at FAU, whether it was conference tournaments, NCAA tournaments, Final Fours, even 2 years ago. What changes this time of year?
I mean, it's just the focus. The intensity and the focus is definitely leveled up a notch. The great thing about college basketball is, like, it doesn't matter what your regular season went like. Everybody in these conference tournaments has a chance to go dancing. I mean, I think March Madness is one of the greatest sports tournaments there are when it comes to sports. So, like I said, the greatest thing about college basketball is everybody gets a fair shot to make it happen. And that just means intensity and focus is just up another level. Offensively,
the last 10 or so games, you've really flipped a switch and gotten really aggressive on offense, looking for your shot, getting to the bucket. Was there a switch there, in this season where you're like, I need to be more aggressive, or has that just like casually come on as part of your game?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started out the year just aggressive, just playing within the system. And I mean, I went through a little low, a couple games on the road where I missed some shots, and just like any other athlete, you start to doubt yourself a little bit. And then I had a little bit of doubt, like, man, should I shoot this? Like, do I really think it's going in? And when that creeps in, sometimes your aggressiveness turns down. And I had a great conversation with just, my friends and family and people in my circle, the coaches who supported me through everything. And just like, man, my teammates, like, just go be Nick Boyd, man. Be aggressive and just, whatever happens, happens. So that's been my mindset these last couple of games, and it's been fun.
Nick Boyd with us right now, Jon and Jim. Again, the Mountain West quarterfinal is 2:30 on Thursday. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. Ted Leitner on the call. Our pregame will begin at 1:30. I'm kind of curious, just looking back at last year at FAU, what are the similarities or differences between your experience with that team last year, where you go 25-9, you get to the NCAA tournament, and what's going on right now with San Diego State? Is it similar? Is it different? How would you compare the two seasons side by side?
Man, that's a great question. I think there's some similarities, man. Obviously, the huge difference is just our age.
Yep.
I think we're one of the youngest teams in the country who has a chance to play in the March Madness this spring. So that's just a huge difference, just our maturity level in terms of just experience and, different scenarios like that. But then I think there's a bunch of similarities. And I always felt like this, even coming here and meeting my teammates now who became my brothers, is just the competitive edge we have as a group. We fight. I mean, there's been a couple games where we lost, and I think there's only been maybe one game on our schedule where we ever really felt like we were out of a game, but we just kept fighting, and that's a great, characteristic you need to have in March, because anything can happen. And I mean, you know how it goes.
Magoon has been out for a little bit here, and it's always in the sports, it's next man up mentality. Miles Heide has stepped in beautifully, having one of his best games, if not his best game of his career on senior night. Can you just talk about how big Miles Heide has been for you, and how good it is to have, the experience that he's getting now with Goon out?
Yeah, I mean, that's like the crazy thing in sports. One guy goes down and another guy has an opportunity, and usually 9 times out of 10, the guy, who's been preparing his butt off is ready. So, Heide just stepped in seamlessly, man. Just obviously he can't block shots like Magoon can, but just his energy, his effort on the glass has been contagious, has been, a key contributor to us making, life or death wins here down this stretch. And he's someone we need to play really, really well in this Mountain West tournament, especially against Boise, who is a big physical team, if we want to do something fun.
So when you head into this game on Thursday, like what's the right word to describe, I guess, maybe your mentality or the team's mentality? Because you got to treat it like your season's on the line, right? But Boise State's probably doing the same thing coming into that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really, when it comes to March, it's kind of hard to put things into words, man. When it comes to talk about these conference tournaments, like I said, there's teams that are 5 and 25, and then all of a sudden get hot. So it's kind of hard to really just put it into words what you have to think in a sort of sense. But you just feel it. I mean, you ask me these questions, and I just get the butterflies. I have to know how this game will go at 2:30. So it's hard for me to put into words, but definitely just an anxiousness to get out there, play hard, and just have fun because I think we really have a chance to do something special.
Obviously, hopefully, we all hope that, you have a lot of basketball here left to play this season through the Mountain West Conference Tournament, hopefully into March Madness. But I got to ask you, have you put any thought into your future here at San Diego State?
Yeah, I mean, when I came here, I wanted to stay here. I'm not really a guy who likes to relocate. So, I mean, I'm here. I'm a San Diego State Aztec. And I haven't really put much thought, outside of that. I've really just been focused on, like you said, playing March basketball. And it's kind of funny because, people ask you these questions, and I was always just brushing it off, especially because through Mountain West play, I wasn't playing my best ball, and that's what I've been consumed upon. Right. Man, I need to just be myself, and so I've really been blocking that noise out. And obviously, when you start playing better, a bunch of people want to call, but I don't really entertain that stuff, and I love where I'm at in terms of this program, and I'm grateful for the opportunity these coaches given me by allowing me to have the ball in my hands and be a leader on the team who could be a NCAA tournament contender.
I was wondering, Nick Boyd with us, and we'll get you out of here in a moment, Nick, but what's it been like for you, your relationship with Reese Waters while he's been out? And what role has Reese played? It just seems like watching from the side that Reese has almost been like a bit of a player coach, always with you guys, home or road, through good and bad. What's that dynamic been like for you with Reese, even though you haven't played on the floor yet in a regular season Division I game?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, man, like when you talk about sports, like Reese, when I first came in, he was really quiet, and he's really opened up throughout time. Obviously, he's been through a tough stretch himself.
Yep.
Just getting banged up. I've been in his shoes before, and obviously everybody's journey is different, but I know it's not fun to be on the sideline watching. But he just opened up really, man, and he speaks when we need him to speak. He's not somebody who's just like outgoing like me to a extent where I just talk all the time, but when he speaks, it's really powerful, and that's kind of been his role on this team. And I know he's just been sitting there like wishing he could be out there to help us or win games. And usually when guys like that on the side, they watch and they come back with a different type of chip on their shoulder and they're ready to kill. So I'm excited to get them back out here next year with me and have fun.
No doubt about it, Nick. We're excited to watch you guys again Thursday as March is here. And again, congratulations on the individual success. I know for you it means more to have the team success, which you've had here this year in your first year on the Mesa. But thank you for doing it. We will see you on Thursday afternoon in Las Vegas, all right?
Thanks, Nick.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Let's go Aztecs.
All right, there we go. Nick Boyd, who, Mark Ziegler speculated on this, and he has touched on it before that he desired to be here for multiple seasons. He basically, again, confirmed that here today, just said he looks forward to playing with Reese next year. So when you start putting these pieces together, and again, I don't think what he just said there is overly shocking.
No.
And again, in this world, it's not like you never know, but you start putting pieces together. You say Reese Waters and you say Miles Bird, if he tests the NBA waters, but comes back, and Nick Boyd, and we'll wait on Magoon and others. But there is a core here that is going to be different than last year. They lost their core last year and they've replenished, but you could next year see that core return.
This core and this foundation that Dutch has built has potential to be very special. I mean, the just sheer talent that Farrell Compton has. Taj Gorville has grown, each game for this team, being kind of almost like the backup point guard. And you just want to see them all return to like reach the potential. It's not where we'll never see a core like this stay together at one program for 4 years. It just won't happen again. But 2 years, like that's kind of as good as 4 years now in today's college basketball, climate. If you can get your core to stay at your program for 2 seasons and you're good in year one, that's almost a dream scenario now in college basketball.
Completely agree. Well said. We'll see what they do get back in 2025-26. But obviously what matters right now is Thursday against Boise State in Las Vegas. Great to connect with Nick Boyd, who's become one of our favorites here in less than 1 year on the Mesa. Darnay Triple, join us at 5 p.m. We'll talk Padres and Aztecs and UCSD and SDFC and more. But on the other side, your chance to win 2 free tickets to see the Pixies August 27th at Gallagher Square. If you want 2 free tickets to see the Pixies right here in San Diego, August 27th at Gallagher Square, call right now, 877-767-4760. Pick up the phone right now and call 877-767-4760. First 2 callers will be contestants for trivia, and you're playing for 2 free tickets to see the Pixies August 27th at Gallagher Square. Again, call right now, 877-767-4760. Darn a trip at 5. We're giving away Pixies tickets right now. Call 877-767-4760. That's next. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, Darnay Tripp, NBC 7, will join us in 10 minutes. Can you believe that, Jim?
Wow.
10 minutes away from Darnay Tripp joining us.
Can I just real quick?
Yeah,
before we get to Trainwreck Radio.
Yeah.
This was posted today by Fletch. and I've been seeing it be reposted around. And we've had him on our show a lot, and we've talked to him a lot, and he's a great guy, Bryce Miller.
Yeah.
There is a GoFundMe out there right now. He is battling cancer, and his brother has a GoFundMe out there for Bryce. It's a very, if you read it, it's a very heartfelt message. It's heartbreaking to read, but Bryce has been really great to this show. He's been great to the community. And so I'll tweet out something as well as far as the GoFundMe goes, but I just wanted to mention that real quick here, because Bryce has been in this town forever. And if you've read the newspaper, you've probably read a Bryce Miller column, and Bryce. And so any donations help, and we just, wish him the best of luck, and our thoughts and prayers are definitely with Bryce in this time.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it, because he has been great to our show. And he's just a wonderful human being. If you've ever spent any time around Bryce Miller, he is a spectacular human being. And he wrote about his cancer diagnosis within the last year or two. And again, we'll tweet it from Jon and Jim. But unfortunately, again, they could use you right now. And there is that GoFundMe. And we'll make sure to put that on our social media, at Jon and Jim, at Jim Russell SD, at John Schaefer. Donate Triple. Join us in about 10 minutes right now. Let's get to this.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Brett and Tom. Brett, you called in first. You have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Let's go with Jon.
All right, Brett and Jon.
All right. And then Tom, you get Jim, okay?
All right.
All right. Brent, what is the question of the day?
Hey guys, earlier we were talking a little bit about Tiger Woods. Did you guys know that there have been 7 golfers with at least 12 PGA Tour wins since 2010? Today's question: name any of those 7 golfers with at least 12 PGA Tour wins since 2010. These aren't necessarily majors; it's just tour wins. By the way.
Yeah, 12 majors would be a lot.
That would be
that would be amazing.
That'd be a big number. All right, Tom, you're up first. What's your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I will say Phil Mickelson.
Phil Mickelson.
No, kind of like the guess. Yeah, since 2010. Okay.
He also joined Live, so yeah. There. Brett, you're up next. What is your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Let's go Rory McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy on the list. There we go. Tom, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm going to say Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler, definitely on the list. I think he might be leading the top of that list. No,
he's not.
Wow.
Come on, man.
Sorry. Brett, you're up next. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
How about Xander Schauffele?
Xander Schauffele.
No! He's got to be close. He's got to be close. He's got multiple majors. He's got multiple tournament wins.
He's got 9.
Not bad.
Okay. What's the score, Brent?
1-1.
It's 1-1.
1-1.
1-1. Okay. Round 3 now. Tom, you're up. What is your final guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'll take a lifeline.
Okay.
See what you got there.
All right. I have a couple in mind, but I'm going to go with I'll go with Brooks Koepka. Do you take that?
Brooks Koepka.
You choose something else if you want.
Right. I'm trying to think here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll go Koepka. All right, Koepka.
Dude, he only wins majors, I thought.
Right.
Sorry.
He's got like 4 majors, right?
I'm sorry.
He's only got 8.
Oh my god.
Only 8. Only.
Yeah.
Jeez. Can't win a tournament, I guess. Brett, back to you.
Walk-off.
You can walk it off.
Mr. Golf. I have the
Mr.
walk-off.
Golf
I have
has
the
a
answer.
walk-off.
I guarantee it. And look,
right.
I'm not looking at anything.
Okay.
But I know.
You better not be looking at anything. Brett, what do you got? Or do you want to use your lifeline?
Let's see what the lifeline says today.
Here's my thought, because I've heard this story is played out. He's won like 17 times at Torrey in the last like 2 years. Jon Rahm.
That was going to be my other guess.
He won everything for like 5 years. I have to assume he's got.
I'm such an idiot.
I go Jon Rahm.
Let's go with it.
What? You're an idiot. You don't know golf. You don't know
Brett,
golf.
do you have the
He's
right
only got
list?
11.
11 he has.
That's right. He has a 12.
You don't know golf.
He's got a live title. Gosh.
Oh my goodness. How many are no names on that list?
I know we still have overtime, but I need the list now.
They're all names because I've heard of them all, and
Let's hear the list.
So Rory's number 1 with 26. Dustin Johnson is number 2. He's got 22. Justin Thomas. He's got 15.
Yes.
Scotty Scheffler's got 13. Jordan Spieth's got 13.
Oh my gosh.
Jason Day has 13. And Bubba Watson has 12.
Oh, we're so stupid.
How is Jon Rahm not on that list?
We are
because
so
he only has
stupid.
11 and you needed 12.
And I was guaranteed it.
All right. Well, we are going to go to overtime now. So, Brent, I'm going to need you to give out the rules of overtime and then give us the question of overtime, please.
All right, guys, how overtime is going to work is I'm going to ask you another question. When I'm done asking the question, you're going to yell out the name of your partner today, either John or Jim. Don't yell out your name. Whoever yells out the name of their partner first, you're going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys understand?
Yeah. Got it.
All right, today's overtime question. Who do the Aztecs play on Thursday?
Jim.
I heard Jim.
Tom, what do you got?
They play Boise State.
Wow, for the win, just like that. Congratulations. You didn't need to know Dustin Johnson for that.
Or Justin Thomas for that.
Or Jon Rahm, even though it's wrong.
Or
Who
Bubba
did you
Watson.
guess?
I guess Brooks Koepka. It was a bad guess on my part. Bad guess on my part.
No, it wasn't terrible.
Bad guess on my part. I should have gone with the easy ones like Justin Thomas. I'm an idiot.
It's a good question.
I'm an idiot.
All right,
Jason Day.
Jason Day. Tom, congratulations. You're going to see the Pixies. With Spoon and Phaser Days, by the way. August 27th, Gallagher Square. The Pixies with Spoon and Phaser Days. Is that one act, Spoon and Phaser Days, or two?
No, they're two. No, I love the Pixies. I was just laughing. Brett has lost 2 days in a row.
I know.
So I'm feeling for you, Brett.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Well, call him tomorrow, Brett. Maybe you can win on your third chance.
Call it on Thursday during the Aztecs game.
Yeah.
All right. Darnate Trip, NBC 7. We'll talk about the Padres, their big win today. The Aztecs getting ready for Thursday, UCSD, SDFC, and more. With Darnate Trip, NBC 7 next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Cactus League play today. Padres finally pick up a win over the last place Chicago White Sox in Cactus League. Gavin Sheets went 3 for 3 today with 2 home runs and a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jackson Merrill also had a home run in the game. I'm sure he stayed for the entire game to watch Gavin Sheets. And Dylan Cease went 3 2/3, giving up 4 earned runs, striking out 4, walking only 1. And Aztecs awards today. Magoon Guath named Freshman of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. He was also named Defensive Player of the Year. Miles Bird was named to the All-Mountain West Conference second team and the All-Mountain West Conference defensive team. And Nick Boyd, who we talked to earlier this afternoon, was named to the All-Mountain West Conference second team. Rapid Radio is our instant push to talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
I'd be very surprised, Jim, based on what we heard yesterday. You're not going to act as a farm team here at the Yankees back-to-back off seasons.
I wouldn't be surprised if those calls have taken place multiple times this offseason about Dylan Cease.
Yep.
And maybe over the last week, maybe even as recent as yesterday or this morning, regarding Dylan Cease because of the news to Garrett Cole being out for the year with Tommy John.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim, and it's great to kick it off with our friend, Darnay Tripp. I think he's our friend. Friend of the show, Darnay Tripp, NBC7. Now, this is March, right? The madness of March. Now, Darnay is a graduate of a school. Now, I don't even know where the school is, Darnay. It's in the state of Maryland. Is it in Baltimore?
We don't have to do this. We don't have to do this.
I have to do it. Where the hell is Towson? Where's Towson?
It's in Baltimore.
All right, so Darnay is a graduate of Towson.
What happened?
They are the Tigers. They were the top seed in their conference tournament. What conference is that? I forget. What conference is it?
The CAA.
The CAA. They played the 12th seed Delaware Blue Hens, who are awful.
Oh, no.
Delaware won 3 straight games to get into the semifinal. It's a cakewalk for Towson. Towson gets squarely beat last night.
Oh, they choked?
They completely choked. They were never in the game.
What happened, Darnay?
But so are you okay? I want to ask you about San Diego State and UC San Diego. There's the agony and the ecstasy, but Towson, what on earth happened?
Pretty disappointing, not going to lie, guys, but haven't made the tournament since either 91 or 92. I graduated in 07, so it's been a while. Not only have they not made the NCAA tournament, they've never made the conference championship game. And they've had like 3 or 4 teams in the last 12, 15 years that should have been like NCAA tournament teams, and they always blow it. They always blow it in the semis, in the quarterfinals. Delaware, at least when I was there, that was our big rivalry, so that's not cool. I've come to expect this sort of thing, and John was texting me about Towson as they were starting to put it together during the regular season.
My bad.
I was like, I'm not paying attention because I know what's going to happen, and maybe it's my fault. That was the first game I've watched all season. And you see how it went.
Gosh.
That's a kiss of death.
So maybe I was the kiss of death, but it was self-preservation because I've read this book before. I know how it ends, and there is no chapter about March. So that's sad.
Does it make you feel weird that I graduated high school in 07 while you graduated college in 07?
No, it makes me think you're roughly 4 years younger than me.
Yeah, that's not that weird, Jim.
I don't know.
He's looking at, does it make you feel weird that I graduated 8th grade and you were in 7th grade? No, it makes me think I'm a year older than you, you idiot.
You know what makes me feel weird? I think one or both of Jackson Merrill's parents went to Towson, and he is from probably like 15 minutes from Towson. What makes me feel weird is he was probably like a baby when I was a freshman at Towson.
And he was probably better
somewhere
at baseball.
Close to campus, there's this incredible athlete who was just born who I would run into at some point in my days covering the Padres.
Let's talk about something that maybe at least one of our listeners cares about.
One?
No, I mean, let's move on to localize it. Let's start with San Diego State, UC San Diego. You and I and a lot of our listeners have followed this story all season long. It's been very good seasons, obviously, for both of these programs. What do you think is necessary for either or both to reach the NCAA tournament at this point?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was just having a conversation with somebody here in the newsroom. They're like, hey, are we to get both teams in? And it is, in a sense,
easier to kind of gauge where the Aztecs stand. Obviously, they have like the track record and the history, but just in terms of like what you see from the bracketologists, everybody for months now has slotted UC San Diego in as the automatic qualifier. And so when you're looking at like the Lenardis of the world, you know, they're not in the, you know, first 4 in, last 4 out, what have you, because they're the Big West champion in their eyes. And so it's a little bit trickier. I just out of curiosity, I was, you know, cross-referencing like net rankings and KenPom to like what teams made it last year. And if you look at where they are, like in KenPom and in the net rankings, they're right in that zone, kind of mid-high 30s, where every team isn't necessarily a tournament team. Every team doesn't get in. You look at like the top 20, top 25, top 30, those teams in those rankings are generally in the tournament, not all obviously as conference champions. As you get closer to 40, it's not so certain. And so I think for those of us who have been following their season more closely, they've been getting a bunch of national buzz. I think even today, The Athletic had a piece about them. Certainly that can't hurt. Their metrics are great. You know, margin of victory is insane, you know, among the most wins in the country, big time players. All of that should help, but it's really hard to tell if they were to slip up on Friday or Saturday, you know, if there are some bid stealers and if you're up against some random team from a power conference, how the committee weighs that coming from a smaller conference, the Big West, as opposed to these power conferences. So, you know, I think in both cases, like the easy answer is, well, you better win the thing. I think for the Aztecs, if you get to Sunday, you probably feel pretty good, win or loss on Sunday. But it's hard to tell because so much can happen this last week of the season.
It'd be nice if just both schools won their conference tournaments and then they're just automatic bids. Don't have to worry about it, because I know John, he is worried about the potential of either or first selection Sunday.
Well, the worst case.
Yeah,
like that. Have you thought about that, Darnay? If we said that with you, like the worst case, that like one or the other scenario?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a massive bummer. In a weird way, like, obviously you want to win your conference. This is their first time playing the conference tournament, UC San Diego, and so that would be a huge accomplishment. But it would almost be a greater tip of the cap to them to get in as an at-large. And so I think there's this weird part of me that thinks that that would be cool, because that would really be a testament to the type of season that they've had. But obviously, you want to cut down the nets. You want to win your conference. It would be their first time, you know, in D1 as members of the Big West. But that would be strange and disappointing. I think either way you slice it, you know, if UCSD does get in and the Aztecs don't, coming off, you know, this nice run of seasons where they've been tournament teams, where they've won tournament games, and then obviously the letdown if UCSD doesn't get in. And I think you'd have a rightful beef. I mean, I'm sure if it were to play out that way, and hopefully it doesn't, I would imagine UC San Diego is among the programs that's getting mentioned as a snub or a team that deserved to be in but got left out. And hopefully doesn't end up being the case.
All right. I told you I'd ask you, can you please break down Xander Bogaerts at bat today?
He hit the ball really hard.
Okay, but
he hit the ball super hard to left field.
Yeah.
And hey, he did that again yesterday as well. I think also 99 from Hunter Green.
Wow.
So, you know, some nice hard contact from Xander Bogaerts. So love to see it.
Fingers crossed. On a serious note, though, it's like, okay, so with the Padres spring training, yeah, they are not doing good. Who cares, right? It's more or less just getting everybody healthy out of spring. But some of the battles that we're keeping our eye on, obviously the fifth starter, but the bench here, Darnay, we've been talking a lot about this over the last couple of days. If you had 5 spots on your bench right now, who are those 5 players for Darnay?
Jeez, that's putting someone on the spot. Hey, if you 26-man roster, who would you be your 26?
Are we serious right now?
That's a tough question on the fly.
Okay, I think Darnay's smart enough to answer it.
Smart. Okay, let's hear it, Darnay.
I heard you guys discuss this. I think it was yesterday, so maybe I'm a little bit prepped on the topic. Can I just have 5 Gavin Sheets? Is that possible?
Sure. If you want, you can clone them.
I think, like, you know, give me Gavin Sheets at this point. Give me Terso. He's played well and a great story. One of the catchers, Martin Maldonado's been getting a lot of run lately. I think I like a world where it's Elias Diaz and Luis Campusano. And so there's three: a catcher, Tirso, Gavin Sheets. I mean, I think you guys are talking about Dennis Lynn's piece, Brandon Lockridge. I mean, look at the numbers that he's put up, and I think that's a guy that, he's been around and might be worth some consideration. I love the idea of Edgar Rosario. My guy's got some strikeouts in him. And so, that could be a potential issue. I've liked Oscar Gonzalez. You got to figure like Connor Joe's somewhere in the mix. So maybe it's like a Connor Joe Lockridge situation. I like the idea of a Connor Joe Oscar Gonzalez. I would love for it to be Aggie, and maybe it's based on the splits and it's kind of a more situational thing. He gives you some sneaky slug. But it's hard once you get past that kind of first three that seem a little bit more clear cut. There's a handful of guys that you can make a pretty decent argument for.
Who are your 8 relievers? No, I'm kidding. I'm completely kidding.
Break down your 26-man roster, please.
Of the 11 players on San Diego FC's bench, can you rank them in order of who you think will see playing time Saturday? No, I do want to ask you about SDFC, though. 2-0-1. They've been without Chucky. I don't know his status moving forward. Is this a sustainable, not to win every match, obviously, or to remain unbeaten, but how sustainable is it without Chucky?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think Saturday was a great sign because they didn't necessarily dominate the run of play like they did against Galaxy and against St. Louis, where they're kind of in control, just couldn't get one across against St. Louis. They looked sloppy at points. I think there was probably a stretch in the first half where it was the first time they looked a bit like an expansion team. And, they get some kind of out of the ordinary contributions. I don't think, we're all learning about these players. I don't think Franco Negri is the type of guy that you're going to be getting a lot of goals off headers. I don't think that's necessarily his MO. Obviously, Anders Dreyer doing what he did. Marcus Ingvarsson putting away. I think just the way that they responded in the first half, and then Mikey Vars talked about it after the game. Like, I think a lot of soccer teams would be content. Hey, let's get the draw. Let's get the point on the road and be on our way. They seem like a team that really wants to win, and if given the opportunity, they want to cash in. They want to get 3 points and they won't be so easily satisfied. So I think that's encouraging, like just from, following a team, fans of the team, like this is a group that really wants to go out there and win and get the job done and not just settle for a point on the road. What it means without Chucky, we'll see. I mean, as Var said, he was week to week last week. So I'm sure, every Thursday or Friday when he meets with reporters, that's probably going to be the first question they've asked until Chucky is back. But I think Saturday was a good sign, getting contributions from different guys and having a game where they're not necessarily in control. They're playing from behind and they still find a way to win. I think Columbus has the same record as they do. I think they've won their first 2 matches and had a scoreless draw this past weekend. So that could be another good test for them because we're obviously figuring out how good they are, but we're also learning a lot about the teams in MLS. And based on what we've seen from Galaxy, that was maybe not as clear a measuring stick as we thought it was. They've struggled. But so far, another really good sign and kind of a different type of performance from SDSU last weekend in Salt Lake.
And again, you can hear Saturday's match on at 7:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760. If you want to win tickets to that match, be listening the next time you hear the Adrian Garcia Marquez goal. Call in for a chance to qualify to win 2 free tickets for that match. Darnay, we appreciate.
I'm literally calling in right now. Can I get 2 tickets?
You are called in. No, you can't qualify.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, but Darnay, it's not that long from now when Townsend opens their college football season at Norfolk State. So
be ready for
August
that.
28th, Michael Vick's debut. You can be there.
Of course, they played the Aztecs when the Aztecs were in Carson. Can they come to Snapdragon Stadium? Let's
I remember
rekindle
that.
the rivalry.
Maybe.
Continue the rivalry, yes.
I'll talk to JD Wicker. Thanks, Darnay. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Darnay Tripp, NBC 7. All right, we are here until 6 p.m. Again, be listening for that sounder for a chance to qualify to win 2 free tickets for SDFC and Columbus Crew, which is Saturday night at 7:30. A match you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. If you missed it earlier, how badly did the New York Yankees want Dylan Cease? We'll share that with you on the other side. Here until 6 is Jon and Jim. All right, the Aztecs are in Vegas Thursday afternoon for the Mountain West Tournament. Our pregame coverage begins at 1:30. Ted Leitner is the call against Boise State at 2:30, quarterfinal round, 4-5 matchup right here in your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. So we've qualified 4 listeners for a chance to be the grand qualifier for SDFC tickets. We'll announce the winner, by the way, from those grand qualifiers coming up Friday afternoon. Will we announce today's grand qualifier at 5:30?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do that coming up in 10 or 15 minutes.
Yep. And then now you're entered to get SDFC tickets, so 1 in 3 chance.
No, a 2 in 3 chance.
2 in 3 chance, yes.
It's confusing.
I know, it's
the
very
grand qualifier. We've had 4 qualifiers today. One of you is going to be the grand qualifier.
Yeah.
Eventually, there will be 3 grand qualifiers. Today, tomorrow, Friday show. We don't have a Thursday show because of the Aztecs.
Mm-hmm.
From those 3, 2 of you will get 2 free tickets.
A pair of tickets. So
that's 2 tickets.
Well, 2 pairs of tickets, yes.
I can't deal with this.
I can't either. It's a loopy hour, okay?
It really is.
It's
all right.
Once we hit 5 o'clock, especially 5:20ish.
I know.
It's
especially on Friday.
Well, it's Tuesday.
Good point.
Yeah. So as I said, it's the loopy hour of Jon and Jim.
Thought for Tuesday. I'm like, well, it is Friday.
I wish it was
There's
Friday.
something about that. That's super weird.
Maybe you thought that because tomorrow.
No, we have another show tomorrow.
I know we do, but you're also leaving tomorrow night for Vegas.
I am, maybe. I don't know. It made no sense. Can we hear from Jon Morosi?
Yes.
Because here's the thing. Yesterday, we heard that the Padres didn't have an appetite to move Dylan Cease or Michael King.
Correct.
We also learned yesterday officially that the Yankees have some serious starting pitching needs right now, right?
Yep. Gill and Cole are now out for, Cole's out for the year for Tommy John. Luis Gill's probably out for a substantial period of time as well.
Right. So the Yankees have a need. Here was Jon Morosi, MLB Network, earlier today on the Yankees' needs and Dylan Cease.
The Padres are always active, and so I would hesitate to rule out anything in terms of a move that A.J. Preller could make. However, I would say this. The expectation in the industry over the last 24 hours is that Dylan Cease is not going to be traded to the Yankees to save their rotation in light of the Garrett Cole injury. Notably, Dylan Cease is on the mound today, pitching at 4 p.m. Eastern time, so I'm sure there will be plenty of scouts there looking at him, as they have with Michael King in recent days and Sandy Alcantara as well. The issue as it relates to the potential pairing between Cease and the Yankees is twofold. Number one, I've been told that the Yankees are reluctant somewhat to add payroll right now. Now, some may say, well, they should pivot and reconsider that in light of the Cole injury. But from what I was told, they're not in a spot to continue adding, given where they're at with respect to the CBT. The other aspect is this, and Matt referenced this off the top in the A block, about the state of the Yankees farm system. If you were going to acquire or have a Dylan Cease deal, you might theoretically ask for Jason Dominguez. Well, he's probably going to play every day in the major leagues, or at least he should this season. Or perhaps Will Warren. Well, at this moment in time, could the Yankees really afford to give up one major league ready pitcher to bring in someone else for 1 year, especially, Lauren, when you consider what is the status of Garrett Cole for 2026, which honestly we do not know at this stage. So while, yes, certainly the Yankees have a need right now in their rotation, I think it has a chance to be either from within, perhaps an external signing like a Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn. They're both still out there. I just do not think we're going to see a Dylan Cease trade that rescues the Yankees rotation.
Okay. That's the latest from Jon Morosi.
Well, it's nice to continue to hear those things because if Preller truly wanted to trade Dylan Cease but just hadn't found the right deal yet, with the loss now of Garrett Cole and the Yankees, and it sounds like the Yankees aren't even willing to spend a lot of their prospect capital to go out and get a pitcher to replace Cole. But still, I mean, they they can't punt. Now they did sign Max Fried, and they have Carlos Rodon, who is whatever blah. But losing Garrett Cole is a huge loss for them. And if they were desperate enough, I think they would try their hardest for Dylan Cease, but it doesn't seem like they really are. And I'm thankful for that because I don't want a team to be super desperate for Dylan Cease and even give AJ Preller a second thought about trading Seesaw King.
Yeah, Cole a year ago, just 95 innings, had a 3.41 ERA. Of course, the Yankees lost the World Series to the Dodgers, but yeah, you're right. In New York, you can't punt on anything, obviously, especially coming off the year they just had. But I think you got to find a different suitor. It's not going to be Dylan Cease. I mean, at this point, it's as close as definitive as I think you can say.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever, you can't say for certain, especially with the Padres. That's a fair point for Morosi. But the Cease King thing would just really surprise me. And a deal with the Yankees, I said this earlier, that would really surprise me, considering they added Juan Soto. Now, the Padres did very well. Everything worked out pretty well in 2024, but they get Soto, and now they're going to get Cease from you in consecutive off seasons. Like, that to me is not a great look if it played out like that. And I don't think it will play out like that. I really don't. I don't think that that's going to happen.
I don't either. I think this this talk of hey, well, if Preller got a deal that he I don't think Preller's even looking. Now, I think he's laid groundwork with some teams. I think he's absolutely taking calls on Dylan Cease this offseason for sure, and Michael King.
Right.
But I don't think anything has gotten close to what would appear to be like an imminent trade with those two guys, because he has in his mind a level of prospect that he wants back and or major league talent, and no team has even gotten close to that. But I do think there has been names discussed for sure.
Oh, absolutely. All right. We're going to hear from Mike Schild on the other side. All right. Mike Schild on one of his favorite players. Now he's got 26 favorite players. Every time the Padres have 26 players on the roster.
Right.
One of those players he's going to give really a glowing review of. And he's going to do that on the other side. We have Jim's back page coming up as well. We are here until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right. So what could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey guys, it is Schaefer. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out, paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 619-207-4336. Get the money you need for anything. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. We'll start with the Horizon League Championship. Robert Morris taking on Youngstown State. Right now, Robert Morris leads Youngstown State 63-55 with 8:15 left in the game. Winner is dancing there. John loves that. Padres Cactus League play today. They finally picked up a win over the White Sox. 7-5. Gavin Sheets went 3 for 3 in the game with 2 home runs, hit the walk-off in the bottom of the 9th inning. Also, Jackson Merrill hit a home run, and Joan Cease went 3 2/3, giving up 4 earned runs, striking out 4, walking 1. Mountain West Conference awards today. Magoon Guath, Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Miles Bird voted to the second team Mountain West and defensive team, and Nick Boyd voted to the All Mountain West Conference second team as well. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
If you're going to give a college basketball update today, and I respect you for doing it, because we're watching Robert Morris.
We're watching the Horizon League Championship.
Then I'll give this Mountain West semifinal update. San Diego State, UNLV. UNLV at home, the top seed. SDSU, the 4 seed. Aztecs, a 20-17 lead, 4:49 to play in the first half.
I like hearing that.
UNLV has gone to the NCAA tournament 4 straight years. They have won this tournament each of the last 4 years. Aztecs beat UNLV in the regular season in San Diego. So this would be a monumental win. It is early, 4:49 to play in the first half. They lead 20-17 after winning yesterday in the quarters.
Now, you'll probably know this. When's the last time the men's and women's team both made the NCAA tournament together?
2012.
Okay.
So it has happened multiple times previously. It has happened as recently as 2012. All right. If you missed this earlier, this is just like a soliloquy. What's it called? I've mentioned this before in Congress, when someone just takes the floor.
Filibuster.
It's like a filibuster on Jake Cronenworth that you didn't know you needed to have.
It's like a monologue.
Almost. A monologue. Yeah. From Mike Schild. I don't even know what he was asked, Jim. Was he just asked, hey, tell me about you? Oh, could Jake Cronenworth play first?
No, he was asked the value of Jake Cronenworth. What's the value of Jake Cronenworth? This is how
you know you're in the middle of spring training.
Yeah.
All right. What is the value of Jake Cronenworth? Listen for the next 30 minutes.
And Jake Cronenworth allows me a chance to speak about a lot of things very positively. First of all, just a great human being. And so high character guy. So that's a great starting point. But there's a lot of high character guys that can't play at all. But Jake's not one of them. And Jake's a really, really good player with a lot of different skill sets. One of the things that as a starting point for Jake, we talk about the 5 tools, run, field, throw, hit for power. And Jake has all those tools, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the 6th tool that helps you win games that I feel like is an undervalued tool, and that's the tool that, like, high baseball IQ. Smart players win games, and Jake's a really, really smart player, and he sees the game very, very well, and he's able to see situations before they happen and be able to anticipate and make plays and help his teammates be aware of the situation and make plays. So that's what winning players do. We want to be able to figure out the play before it happens, not talk about it, what we could have done after the fact. And Jake, it's a big part of our success, and that's part of what we're doing this spring training. And there's a learning curve with that. But anyway, back to Jake. He allows that. And then, oh, by the way, he's a really good defensive player. Last year I felt like, and I didn't worry about me feeling like it, but was tracking towards a Gold Glove, at first base, and like Bogey and Crony, and they're great. They're really talented. So when they're super talented and play multiple positions, and they're team oriented, they allow us to put him in those positions. So he left a spot where he's tracking for a Gold Glove, went and played really good defense at second, and didn't end up winning or even get nominated, which I thought was a little shame and unjustified for a Gold Glove, from a utility standpoint. So it does those things. The arms are real. The triple play we turned in the year with Manny and him showed off some really serious arm talent. So the arm helps you beat the other team. which is ultimately what this is about. And then we start talking about, the bat, and I think Jake's in a really good place right now. Really, good rhythm to what he's doing, using the whole field, just in a great spot. Got some power, probably a little too much in the case. Like, when Jake's good, he's just hitting for average. But he has that pop in him. So it's, the competitor in you, like, yeah, I can go deep here. But and then the last thing, he's a really, really good teammate. He really cares about his teammates. And so there's a lot to like about Jake. It took me a long time to answer, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to share positivity.
How many MVPs has Jake won in his baseball career?
Is it 3 or
like
5?
2 or 3. I forget. A couple?
Man,
at least?
We both were curious about his fielding numbers, like Baseball Savant or Fangraphs.
Oh.
They're not good.
They're not good at all. And I don't want this to turn into just us always making fun of Mike Shildt and his cringiness. Because I do think that him hyping up his players, being the ultimate hype man, is a good quality to have. You don't want to have your boss always putting you down. You always want your boss to telling you good things about yourself and making you feel good and wanted. I know this is professional sports. I get it. I understand that it's different. It's a cutthroat business. At least, it should be. The Padres, half the time it's not. But you get my point is, I don't want my manager to continuously be putting me down. I want my manager to try to lift me up. And Schulte is the perfect guy for that.
Yeah, but you also want a little bit of honesty. If we went into our PD's office and our ratings were 0.0 and they sung our praises for 10 minutes about how great this show is and it should be syndicated and put it on in Boston and Seattle.
Well, to be fair, Jake is not Martin Maldonado. Martin Maldonado is a 0.0.
Yeah, but Martin Maldonado's deal is better than Jake's.
Well, okay. If we,
right?
I get
what I mean?
Now, Schulte said that Martin Maldonado is basically Yadier Molina 2.0.
Right. That's true. That's true.
But I do think Jake is a nice player. I don't think he is an above average player. I don't think he's a below average player. He's a very average player that I do think winning teams would like to have. If you're asking Jake to be your best player, that ain't going to be it. But if you're asking Jake to just, give me 15 to 20 home runs, give me 75 to 85 RBI, he can do that. Absolutely. Can he play first base? Can he play second base? Can he fill in? Right? He can do those things. It's just, I get it. When you listen to Schulte talk, it borders on being not only very cringy, but just what are you talking about? But I do think that the quality that Schulte has, which is the Schulteisms, right? Everyone's got a cute nickname. Everyone's the greatest player ever. Nobody can do any wrong.
Right.
I do think that quality does help the team in a way.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but the 3.5 minute monologue, which included a quote that not only does he have power, he has too much. Let me hear this.
Got some power, probably a little too much.
What does that even mean? Hey, the 99 homers you hit last year, ramp them back. We're only looking for 80.
And he could have had more.
Too much power. The guy's career
too much power
slug is average.
Got some power, probably a little too much.
I'm sorry.
No, we've had some great Schulteisms today.
Can we keep them all?
No, we
can. It's called the computer.
When he dropped a Hosey today,
dude, unbelievable.
His name's Jose.
Right.
He dropped the Y. I mean,
but he wanted the Y. It was unbelievable.
Yes. Is Mike Shildt probably the cringiest manager I've ever covered? Yes, but he's also a good manager. And he's proven that.
No, he is. But but this is too easy for.
Yeah.
It's almost like
I know.
All I got to do is say, Jim, can you find the Schilt sound from tonight because we're playing it on air?
I know.
It's great. It's comedic relief.
Like I said, it is. But it's also, thank goodness they win, and thank goodness he's a good manager.
Well, in the Cactus League, they might make a change. We were saying.
I don't. Is it us, John? Are we the
problem? No, we're not the problem.
Okay, because I don't remember.
Nobody else talks about it, but. No, it's not us.
I don't remember this being a big talking point out of St. Louis. Man, he's a good manager, but Schulte's very cringe. I don't think I've ever heard that.
I'm sorry, dude. It is hard for me if you're watching on YouTube, and I'm also watching San Diego State women's basketball. They lead by 13 at the half.
Oh, let's go.
They just want to run against UNLV, the top seed, San Diego State women's basketball. It's hard for me to keep a straight face when I hear that, Jim. I mean, it really is. And then I love you just tried to provide like a 2-minute synopsis like that. I can't even deal with it.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt just because they won and it's spring training. So who gives a crap?
No one.
But also like you can, if I had $1,000 to bet right now on Schulte doing something even more cringy than this during the season, I would bet it in a heartbeat.
I would agree with that.
Like, yes, there are going to be a lot of moments this year where we're going to be on the radio and playing Schulte sound and being like, what is he talking about?
Dude, I know.
It will happen. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as they win. And so far, so good for Schulte.
They're 5-13.
Well, it's Cactus League.
I'm kidding. All right, Jim's back page on the other side. By the way, WCC final, Gonzaga St. Mary's coming up at 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, we're watching a lot of things. We're watching some conference tournaments. I just had Jim screaming over the NEC championship between St. Francis, PA, and Central Connecticut.
Well, what was the team?
Top seed Central Connecticut about to go down at home to a team that's 15-17 in the final. St. Francis, PA. That
was a big shot.
It was a big time shot from St. Francis, PA.
It was a big time shot, everybody.
Big time shot. We have the WCC final, Jim. Gonzaga, St. Mary's coming up at 6 p.m.
Oh, nice.
Who are your top 6 players to watch tonight?
Good question. I will be on the radio tomorrow at 2 p.m. to tell you.
You don't have a list of 6 players you're keeping an eye on tonight for St. Mary's and Gonzaga? I watched them both last night.
I got nothing.
All right. St. Mary's Gonzaga coming up at 6 p.m., which means no odd couple. But right now, let's get to this.
Darn it.
Wait, did we announce our winner?
No.
Can we announce, Brent, our grand qualifier? I'd forgotten to do the grand qualifier for San Diego FC. You have them? Okay, Brent knows who let's do a drum roll, and then Brent can tell us who it is. So this is a grand qualifier for a chance to win 2 free tickets to San Diego FC against Columbus Crew Saturday night, 7:30 at Snapdragon Stadium. A match you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. Today's grand qualifier is...
John, congratulations.
Thank
you are
you.
now in the running to win SDFC tickets to Saturday night's game here at Snapdragon Stadium. Find out if you win on Friday afternoon.
All right, very cool. So John is a grand qualifier. We will qualify more listeners for San Diego FC tickets tomorrow beginning at 2 p.m. What do you have today on the back page?
Well, John, as you are not paying any attention right now.
I'm watching like 4 college basketball games.
I could see. Anyway, remember the Paul Skeens rookie debut patch autograph card that was at auction and it was like blowing up and it's kind of ridiculous how much money this thing is going to go for.
Of course.
Well, it has reached now over $660,000.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. This guy better be first ballot Hall of Famer 100%. No way in hell would I ever pay that for a Paul Skeens rookie card.
16 starts or whatever he's made.
He better win like 3 Cy Youngs.
300 games.
He better win 300 games. He better literally be like top 5 in all-time strikeouts. I mean, this guy better be like a 15-time All-Star.
They better rename the Cy Young the Paul Skeens.
I mean, the guy shouldn't even won Rookie of the Year last year, yet people are auctioning for his card. Like, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it. That card's not worth $660,000.
No.
Let me finish.
No, it's not worth it ever.
It's not. It's only worth it because he's dating Livy Dunn.
$660,000.
I think that helps his status.
Gotcha, but that's a lot, dude.
And that's the only reason why it helps. If that thing is cut in half at the best, if he's not dating Livy Dunn and he just wins Rookie of the Year last year.
What if they break up?
Well, then I hope she breaks up with him, because if he breaks up with her, the Livy Dunn fans will be very upset. They'll be very mad. They're very, very mad with her. So,
okay.
The ridiculous card. I mean, guy shouldn't even won Rookie of the Year last year. It wasn't even best. Wasn't even the best.
No,
rookie.
he had a good year.
Wasn't the best rookie.
It was an arguable. Yeah, it could have been Merrill.
Wasn't the best rookie. This is a very weird collaboration.
Okay.
Pringles and Miller Lite.
Weird. Very weird.
Pringles is pushing flavor boundaries once again with 2 brand new Miller Lite inspired varieties, giving snack lovers a unique twist on classic tailgate flavors.
Right.
What? Pringles and Miller Lite beer can chicken, and then Pringles and Miller Lite grilled beer brats. That does not sound like I would want to eat that. The Miller Lite beer can chicken flavor Pringles were announced earlier this year. They will be available later this summer. And then the Pringles Miller Lite grilled beer brat is coming at the end of May this year.
I would eat both of those. You don't like beer brats or beer can chicken?
I do. And you're probably right, because it probably is just like barbecue Pringles, like, which I would totally eat. And John's not paying any attention right now.
So this game we were talking about where the 15 and 17 team beat the 25 and 6 team to go to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's great.
The team that was 25 and 6 was down 3 with 1 second left. They got a perfect look at a 3 from half court. It was off the back iron. No good. It's just as impactful as the brought Miller Lite Pringle.
Is it as impactful as this next story that I'm about to tell you?
Let's hear.
Which is Wendy's is giving away free Thin Mint Frosties on Wednesday, tomorrow, March 12th.
We got to call off work.
The fast food chain is giving away a free small Thin Mint Frosty with any purchase made through the Wendy's app or online. The giveaway is in celebration of National Girl Scout Day, honoring the organization's legacy while giving fans a taste of the limited time Thin Mints Frosty, which debuted on February 21st.
Wow.
I hate you.
I know.
I hate you so much.
I know. I'm just watching this shot. What else you have?
That's it.
That's all you got?
Do you do this at home too, where like your wife's telling you a story and you're just like
listening.
Totally focused on like
1000%. Yeah.
ACCC action?
I'm like, Kristen, it's the ASUN quarters. I'm like, it's Campbell against Longwood. Are you seriously talking to me right now about Jones's future and college fund? It's the ASUN quarters. Come on, clean it up. All right. We do have the West Coast Conference Finals tonight. There will be no bid stolen in the West Coast Conference. You want to know why, Jim? Because both St. Mary's and Gonzaga are going to the NCAA tournament.
Oh!
So we'll have that for you coming up at 6 p.m. Now, I'm trying to think what's going on tomorrow. Sean Lewis is on the show tomorrow. San Diego State football coach spring practice is underway. So Sean Lewis will join us tomorrow on the show. Kevin Acey is on the show tomorrow. So Kevin will join us as well. We'll see if we can connect with Mark Ziegler, who's traveling out, of course, to Las Vegas to cover San Diego State in the quarterfinals against Boise State. I think he's also covering UC San Diego. They're playing in the Big West tournament in Henderson, Nevada. So we got a really good show for you Wednesday. And then, of course, you can hear the Aztecs on Thursday, beginning at 1:30 with pregame coverage. San Diego State, Boise State, this critical Mountain West quarterfinal game at 1:30. And again, tip-off, Ted Leitner calling it, will be at 2:30 on Thursday. What a show. Where does the time go?
Can we just have more show?
No. Four hours is good.
No.
But we're back tomorrow at 2 p.m. More chances to qualify to win tickets to see San Diego FC Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium. As always, if you missed anything today, you can go to sportsSD.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Spotify. We're on YouTube. Just search for Jon and Jim. That's JONANDJIM. You can find us as well on social media. Search for Jon and Jim. All right, WCC final from Vegas on the other side from the Orleans Arena. Gonzaga and St. Mary's. For Brent and Jim, I'm Jon. Keep it here. College basketball up next. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, peace out. Bye.